Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 65. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, it all comes down to this, my friend. Uh, the end of 2020 is at hand. The holiday season is about to kick off, and madness about to ensue on all fronts. Let me ask you: have you got your holiday shopping at least behind you?
No, no. And I don't know how much shopping I need to do because my kids are all grown up. Like it's when your kids are little is when you got to do most of the shopping. I'm divorced. I don't have to buy for my significant other. So maybe I'll go out and buy something for me. I need to get some Christmas gifts for Roots. Although I think I already got a couple this year. The Quest 2, my new phone that I just went through nightmare to get today. Wes, I started doing the math. And I think my phone I had was almost 10 years old. And I don't know how
Whoa.
that, yeah, and it was still snappy for 10 years old. But now I got my Quest 2 in my phone, bro. I'm sure there's probably an XR2 in there. So,
Yeah, probably. No, I use these cheap ass burner phones because I break enough screens.
mm.
Case in point, we've got this one, and then we've got this one, and I break these things all the time. So, uh, I don't know if you all know this or not, but you can actually get a fairly competent phone for less than $50 these days.
Oh, Jesus.
And I mean, it smokes like the top of the line stuff from 5 years ago. So I'm content. And if it gets dropped in the toilet, then we'll just flush it and go buy another one.
That's what's funny is the person was trying to like upsell me and stuff, and oh, this one's this, and I just went for the one that I got, and she started saying, oh, well, that's good, but it's not as good as this one. I said, well, I'm sure it's better than the one that just died on me. You know what I mean? Which I was completely content to still use tomorrow if I could have and not spent the money I spent because it's not cheap. But I wish I'd known about this burner phone thing. I need to go down that road, right? So
Walmart special, man. No contract. I pay, I think, $30 a month for unlimited everything. And then, like, if I want to add lines, they're 25.
hmm,
So
that's not
not,
bad.
not too shabby. No,
Yeah,
not
that's not
bad at
bad
all.
at all. Yeah. So what's the data on there? You said it's unlimited data for $30?
It's not like I think I get 3 or 4 gigabytes of
Oh
high
shit.
speed, and then it cuts back to like normal speed if I go over, but I rarely go over.
Yeah. Oh shit. I don't use my phone for that kind of stuff anyway. So hey, that sounds good.
Yeah, I use most of my data goes to quality checking the episodes after YouTube gets done with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Which is good actually. I was sitting back and I was listening to some of our last. So I started realizing, Wes, because you're not editing and I'm not. We're not doing the live stream or I guess the replay premiere. I don't listen to the show enough. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, not that I want to sit there and listen to every show from beginning to end, but there is reasons to watch back and listen to. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I generally I'll go in and start watching it for a specific reason. But then I get interested in it, and I generally end up watching the whole show before we shoot the next one.
Isn't that crazy? And that's the thing is like this is going to be a testament to pat myself on the back and you as well. Like I started exactly the same thing. I was just like kind of just sitting there not and I found that I was listening and I was intent and I was like, dude, I had that conversation yesterday like but I still want to hear it again. So that's good.
We do a pretty good show, don't we?
Yeah, hell yeah, we do.
Sometimes,
Yes.
sometimes it's a bit of a shit show, but I think we got a good one today, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We sure do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it never ceases to amaze me, Roots, how fast the technology is moving with VR, and we all kind of anticipated it when we first got in. We kind of projected forward, right? That we knew that the technology would move fast. But today, when I was in Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, I was just blown away at what a step forward we have taken since Vader Immortal was out.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely was. I'll tell you what, compared to Vader Immortal, it is hands down way better in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't think so, but that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a lot of people. I would say a few people are a little bit disappointed on the narrative front, which is understandable. But on every other aspect of this game, it's an improvement, and such an improvement. In fact, I would say that that they've pretty much addressed every complaint that we had with Fatal Immortal. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah. It felt good to move around. That was the biggest thing. And my biggest gripe, and you can remember because I bitched about it a lot, was I didn't want to be locked down when I'm fighting. And I absolutely did not feel that way. And this is kind of weird. And did you feel like you couldn't duck behind stuff, Wes? Because somebody was telling me that because or they said in the Discord that they died a lot because they couldn't duck behind cover, and I was ducking behind cover, but maybe I wasn't able to grab it and move it, and that was one thing that I wish I could have seen a little bit more of was um, some more of the physics based, but I guess we can't get used to that yet, right?
Right. Well, I didn't have any trouble using cover. Which that said, I don't really duck behind cover because I'm normally playing seated, but I'll strafe behind cover, and I played on hard. And let me tell you, if you play this game on hard, it can be hard. Generally, you feel like playing this game on hard, like there's no reason for you to even have a health meter because if they shoot you, you're dead. So I found myself using cover pretty much constantly. It's the only way I could stay alive. So no trouble there at all.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't. I died a few times, but I had the exact same experience as you. It was so because I read, I think it was PD or somebody had said that they recommend playing on hard, and you know me, I'm not somebody that just generally goes in on hard. I want to finish the thing. I don't want to sit there and mess around with it forever. But I took a recommendation and I really enjoyed it. I felt like it needed to be on hard. I wanted it to actually be difficult, especially since the last Star Wars, you couldn't die. There was, you know what I mean. You could just stand there and get hit a million times, and that was our biggest gripe. I was so surprised about those little balls. Were you? Like I just flung them around and just started moving around and didn't realize what they were until I was like, oh shit, dude, this is cool, man. Um, how about you?
Yeah, well, I just kind of collected them. I assumed that they were junk that I was going to be able to redeem for credits until I got outside of the cantina and found the little tutorial spot there that explained them. But yeah, I agree. I thought they were really cool to have these little droids that'll follow you around and protect you. Even though I don't know how effective they were, they were more effective as an enemy distraction than anything for me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You end up noticing that they're damaged, right? And so you're trying to heal them half the time. So it's kind of as a distraction for me as well. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it was pretty. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything, all of what I've played so far, and I feel like the production value of this thing, this Star Wars was so good. Like my jaw dropped when I went in the bar and was like looking at the bartender and the other dude, and it just was so good. What are your thoughts on the graphics?
Yeah, dude, I thought it was amazing, and this is one of the things I was talking about when I said I'm kind of amazed at how fast the technology is moving. Um, this is still the Quest style of graphics, right? You can tell a difference in the way that the world is rendered between the standalone games and the PC slash console games. Everything takes a different shape, and then they kind of just paint these textures on everything. What has really improved is the quality and detail in the textures that they paint on everything. I mean, they've done a really good job of that here. They did a good job on Vader Immortal, but it's just amazing here. And the Quest 2 really allows this game to shine. It really makes me curious when we do finally see the PC version of it, which I'm sure we will at some point. Is it just going to be a straight port, or are they going to or are they going to, up the ante with the graphics a little bit? I would submit that I don't think that that's necessary. I think that a straight port of this would be sufficient. But I am curious.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to ask you. Is what do you think? Do you think um, it even needs it? Because I feel like it would be overkill, right? It was just
Well, I mean, for guys like me and you, probably, but then you have your Jarillos and your Scions out there that might disagree. You know.
well, would they still be blown away? That was my thing. Is like I and maybe I because I am. I guess it is. I have no. I can't help it, Wes. I'm new to the Quest, so like I have to go into it with the mindset of what like that new person is going to see, like somebody that just picked up the headset for the first time and they, maybe they heard from their friend, yeah, Vader Immortal was okay, it was kind of hokey, blah blah blah, I don't know, but they get into this thing and they're just blown away. I was blown away, and that's what I feel like Vader Immortal gets more credit than it should, Wes. And I was thinking about this the other day, and not that it's not a good experience, because that's what it is. Because every time I hear people say how good it is, it's always, and I mean always, followed by the dojo. The game's not the dojo, bro. Like that's the extra snippet that they added in there. It's a part of it, but it's not. It's not what I wanted out of it. I wanted the tale, the experience. I wanted to go before Vader and everything else. And I feel like if whoever's working on this version had done Vader Immortal, I would have gotten what I wanted. Because they
No, I will push back a little bit here because I'm not so sure it isn't the same people working on it.
hmm,
But we all pretty much said the same things, right? We said that we wanted to be able to roam freely instead of having to walk the linear path. We all said that we wanted to be able to die.
hmm.
We wanted more of a game-like experience. We said that we didn't want a stupid droid following us around and interrupting us and distracting us constantly.
So
I
what?
feel like all of us, we all said that instead of cutting it up into 30 and 45-minute segments, we'd like a few hours of experience. And I feel like what pretty much happened here is ILMX Lab heard us and they gave us the game that we asked for.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I guess I phrased it differently because the team that's working on it today isn't the team that worked on it Vader Immortal. They've, even if it's the exact same people, they've grown, they've learned, they've
Gotcha.
changed everything that their mindset. But I can't necessarily say I was exactly looking at it from that standpoint until you made your comment. But it's a perfect point. It makes sense, and everything is changed. Everything that was annoying about the first one is gone, and people are still bitching. But I don't know what they're bitching about, Wes, because I really enjoyed my time in there so far, and I'm looking for. I was already ready to buy. I can buy the next episode. I was kind of disappointed. I was ready to buy another one, because it's just good.
Yeah, I agree, and I haven't finished this one yet. I will say that in full disclosure here. I put about 60 to 90 minutes into it on hard level, which a lot of it was me dying and playing the same parts over and over again. But I saw enough to know what this game is, and I feel confident in calling it a game, first of all, and that in itself is an improvement because the last one, it was kind of questionable, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I agree with Main Fan, or I don't know if he agrees with it anymore, because I think he might have said he changed his mind a little bit. But I believe that if you can't die, it's hard to say it's a game. Like if you're not, it was a walking sim. It was really good for what it was, but I think that they really did listen to everything that you just laid out, and tweaked it and made it better. And I haven't finished it as well, but I want to finish it. Everything about it, and I do have my critiques. I do wish the jetpack. I hope they fix it, because it doesn't feel like a jetpack. I want to levitate. I want to feel myself rise, and then I want to hold it, and then I want to let off and feel myself go down. And maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, it's not like it's the end of the world. It's just would have been really cool to feel like it was like a real jetpack, right?
Yeah, I felt like the jetpack thing was kind of a cop out, right? I felt that because it doesn't behave like a jetpack at all. It's a hover feature, and it's just immediate. It's like you teleport up into the air, and then you teleport back down to the ground. And I feel like it was a way for them to get around adding in a jump feature.
Mm,
They needed a way for you to be able to get to elevated places without adding in the jump feature or adding some means for you to climb. So I, you know, while I think it's a good idea and kind of a cool way to go about it, at the same time, I felt like it's kind of uh, to borrow a phrase from Roots, it was a little bit lazy.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. It does did seem like it was lazy, but hopefully I mean I know a lot of people have said something and maybe they will patch it in. And even if you want to leave it like cuz I know they're concerned about people getting sick and that was part of why a lot of reasons for whatever jumping I'm assuming anyway. But like Wes always says, give us the option, just let me switch something on that says real hovercraft or real jetpack and all, you know. That'd
Yeah,
be
and
cool.
I think that it's pretty obvious that that is their concern here, and I think what really gives that away is the fact that there's no smooth turning in this, that they force
Mm,
snap turning, which
yeah.
is just another sign that they're concerned about people getting sick, and it's surprising to me. I mean, yeah, obviously there's going to be a lot of newbies playing, but at this point I think that it's pretty well documented that most of these comfort features go unused, and the fact that we still have games that implement this stuff without making it optional is just it's kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah. Because what's weird is like some of these indie devs got it down, man. They've got a million options, dude. You can do everything. Smooth turn as fast as you want. Slow. You want to, grow a third arm out of your chest. That would be kind of cool if you wanted to Doom it VFR it. But I don't know. Hopefully they'll patch it in. I mean that's an easy fix, right? Smooth turn.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I would be surprised if they didn't. But that said, even if they didn't, these things are really just nitpicks in the overall big picture. Overall, the experience was absolutely amazing. It's as a Star Wars fan, this is what I've wanted since the day I've walked into VR. I want this kind of open-ended adventure, and really, it's at the same time of being this kind of adventure, it's a hub for future adventures. And I'm really interested to see what kind of DLC is going to come and how often it's going to come and for how much money they're going to charge for it. Because I think that they've got something here that they can really, it could be a cash cow for them for many years to come if they support it properly and don't revert back to the 30 minutes for $10 structure that we had with Vader Immortal.
No, especially that. I don't know how. Like this has more to it that because the story isn't even really. I guess if you include if it's 3 hours every time and it's like $10, but even if it like what an hour and a half, 2 hours for $10, but it would depend on the story as well. But
Yeah, I would right. I need a couple hours just to sink my teeth into something like this. It's not arcade style. It's not like Tarzan, which is the other title that we're going to be talking about today. Tarzan can kind of get away with having shorter chapters because it's arcade style gameplay. It's more about the action than the telling the story. The story is just kind of secondary. This is Star Wars, right? And anything that you do in the Star Wars universe is going to be involved in some kind of storytelling. And if that's the case, for it to be good and worthy of the title, it needs to be at least a couple hours long.
yeah, absolutely. How cool was it though, Wes, when you were in there? At least for me, I was like, enraptured by the acting, but the voice acting, and then I felt like when I went into the bar, I felt like I walked into one of those Star Wars cartoons, right? And it looked so good, and the bartender was saying what he's saying, talking about, he's going to mix up a drink and he'll tell you a story, and it'll the way he said it, the way it'll make you feel like you're there. I guarantee it, right? And it was just so perfect, and it's just something we haven't really seen very much of in VR as far as storytelling going. I felt like I was really there in that atmosphere, and it was just really cool. And I can't wait to get to all these stories because, like you said, I mean, they could, as long as they do it right, they could ride this thing for years and just keep putting
Yeah.
out really cool stories, and maybe bring people back into Star Wars like me. that kind of got a little, frustrated with all the politics brought into it, and all the just the world, and just let me enjoy Star Wars for what it is. So,
Yeah, yeah, they could bring new stories into this game. They could expand the map even and have larger, quests because it's not just all about the offshoot stories in this thing. There's quests and there's side quests and pretty much everything that I did in this game I found to be fun. I didn't mind chasing these little kind of trivial goals that they set for you. Like for example, they'll set they'll give you a high score to beat on the dartboard in the cantina. I sat there for a good 10 minutes throwing darts, Roots, and the only reason I
mhm.
quit is because I didn't want to spend all of my credits.
Oh God. Well, I'll tell you what, I saw that all that stuff when I first got in there, and then the bartender started. I heard an argument going on, and I was like, "Oh shit, what's going on in there?" And then I forgot it was there. I need to go back into that cantina because there is all sorts of stuff you can do in there, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and just the world in general is very interactive. There's lots of little trinkets and things that are sitting around that are unconsequential to the game, but it's just cool to have this kind of interactivity with this world. It gives the world depth, and again, it's exactly what we asked for coming out of Vader Immortal. We wanted to be able to interact with the world a lot more, and they're giving us exactly what we asked for.
Let me ask you this, because I saw a bunch of people commenting saying that there was jank with grabbing stuff off the ground or grabbing stuff in general, and I had zero. Like I literally tried to grab stuff in weird ways because I read that comment and I couldn't reproduce it. So I don't know what was going on in some of those people's. Maybe they were using mixed reality or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I had absolutely no issues with the tracking in this game, and I hadn't heard that. So, I pretty much, blacklisted all of the coverage of this game because I didn't want to spoil any of it for myself. So I hadn't really seen any gameplay at all of it. Hadn't really heard any reviews. The little bit that I did hear about it was from our Discord. It was from people, talking about it there. But I hadn't heard anybody talking about problems with the tracking. So no, I didn't notice anything like that.
Yeah, me either. That's weird. That's sometimes people notice weird things, but I couldn't reproduce it. Didn't see it. I'm sure it existed for somebody else, but I don't know. And so I guess 24.95. Do you think that's? I mean, obviously that includes the hub. It includes the beginning part where they kind of introduce the game. That was my concern. Is like, okay, so how much of the is the entire game um, included in that first story, and then what is the cost going to be going forward? Because I just have no idea what they're going to do with this. I mean, they could do them for free for all we know. Which I doubt's happening, but
Yeah, I don't have a problem with 25. I really wouldn't want to see it for any more than that. Most people are saying that this is a 3 hour deal. Probably going to take me four, 4 to 5. Um, but it's Star Wars, and that's worth something to me as
mm-hmm.
a Star Wars fan. And when someone carries the Star Wars name, it generally speaks to a certain level of polish and quality, and that 100% is here, and you can see it from the very moment you walk into the cantina and you start looking at things, and you'll see little alien writing just on stuff just as a touch that most people wouldn't even notice because it's so tiny, but it's that level of detail, And speaking of detail, there's a lot of lore in this world, and everything has its own story. And you can find this with your Robinson the Journey style journal. A lot of the stuff that you encounter will create a journal entry that you can go to the pause menu into your pause menu and pick up the details about. So as you're literally progressing through the game, the story is being told and recorded in your journal, which I found very helpful on more than one occasion.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. And I think you're very optimistic, Wes, on your 4 hour journey. I think it's probably going to take you five with all that stuff for you to check out. I want to check it out. I just thought it was super cool. And like I said, I've been a little salty towards Star Wars for the last, I don't know, a few years, but it just brought back nostalgia. And it was just done so well. And I agree. I think $25 is well worth the price of admission. And people forget, it's exactly what you said. It's the Star Wars IP. It costs money, and the acting costs money, and the production in AAA that people want costs money, and I have no problem paying for it.
Well, that's really the thing here, right? Pretty much everybody is in agreement that the voice acting is world class in this, and the reason why is because they have world class voice actors in it, and that's not cheap. And I was originally put a bit off by the fact that they pulled somebody else from Saturday Night Live to play Sleazelack, the barkeep here,
Mm,
because the annoying droid from Vader Immortal was Maya Rudolph
mm,
from Saturday Night Live, you know, she did good at playing the role that she played, but she didn't seem like a droid at all, and she was highly annoying. Now that's not really her fault; that's the writer's fault. But when I saw that they got Bobby Moynihan to play Sleazelack in this, I was like, "Oh God, not again!" But I was so impressed with his performance in this because A, he didn't sound like himself at all, and B, he sounded exactly what this big boisterous character should probably sound like, right?
hmm
So I was infinitely surprised and impressed with his performance.
Yeah, just like I said, it made me feel like had gotten sucked into this Star Wars cartoon, and because that's exactly what it would have been like. That whole story, everything that he tells you is what you would have. I've seen a million of those type of things with my kids. Um, and they nailed it, I think. So I definitely, I would recommend it. I mean, this is the thing. If you played Vader Immortal and for whatever reason you were turned off by it, give this one a shot, because I think you'll probably feel like it's way better. Every person that I've seen for the most part is saying it's better. Some are saying way better. Some people say, oh, it's not that much better. I guess it really depends on how much of a Star Wars fan. But I would imagine the more of a Star Wars fan you are, the more you'd appreciate this one, right? Because it just feels better.
Yeah, and again, I am a Star Wars fan, and this is kind of, as I mentioned before, this is kind of the sort of experience that I've been waiting on. I've wanted this kind of a adventure game set in the Star Wars universe. With that said, we've had another Star Wars AAA title released in the VR over the last couple of months, but that title, Roots, as good as it is a it's a flying title, right? It's a dogfighting title, and I would submit, even though that's a much bigger production and is a AAA game, this Tales from the Galaxy's Edge is more what I wanted, and uh, you know, sitting here at 1 to 2 hours into this game, I'm having a lot more fun than was having at 1 to 2 hours into that other game. In spite of the fact that that's a tremendous game and a lot of fun in its own right.
Yeah. Well, it's the adventure, right? It's like going through, you feel like you're in there. Something doesn't translate when you're, flying around in a ship. I don't have a yaw. I don't have any of these cool things that make you feel like you're really flying. So, but if I'm walking around and I'm in an adventure type of thing where they're telling me a story, um, I guess you just get more involved because there's so much action in the dog fighting type of stuff in between scenes. It's like the opposite of Farpoint. Farpoint is like so much scenes, and then they pepper in action everywhere, right? This one, it just, I don't know. Every game's different, but I really enjoyed this one so far.
Yeah, but I've enjoyed both titles, but I'll tell you what, Roots. Sitting here as a Star Wars fan who needs to get back to both of these, I'll be going back into Tales of the Galaxy's Edge before I'm going back into Squadrons, because I'm enjoying this one more.
Yeah, me too. And I feel like they're not 100% done with fixing Squadrons either. I want to play it like that, like they messed it up so much, Wes, that they're having everybody reset their stuff. I think for the multiplayer, and that they're giving you incentives, like, so I'm hoping everything when I go back into it, it's all nice and adjusted. But that being
Well,
said, I
well,
agree. I'll be going into this
yeah,
one
well,
first.
Well, I'll be going back into Star Wars Squadrons very soon as well, but it's not to go play multiplayer. I want to play through that story campaign. I played the first bit of that, and I really enjoyed it. But not until we get through Tales of the Galaxy's Edge, which shouldn't take me another sitting from what people saying, and I should be through it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what about the other game that we played this week?
Well, the other game that we played this week, we've actually been playing for quite some time, and that is Tarzan VR. Uh, Roots and I have actually had access to this game. What, Roots, for 2 months now, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, dude, and you know what? Because nobody warned me. Like a lot of people that went into this game, they got to a little advanced warning of Anthony's placement in there, and I did, my jaw dropped, Wes. Like my jaw dropped when I came across Anthony's radio thing, and then I sat down and I listened to it for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. I think I did the opposite of what you did.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are samples of the total thing that Anthony recorded for this. He did a lot, actually, a pretty good amount of audio for the thing, and I would assume that we're going to hear more of it through subsequent issues. But I heard it in a WAV file months ago,
Oh, did you?
and it's funny, dude. It was like I don't know, it was like 5 or 10 minutes long of just fucking random bullshit, and it's hilarious.
It just reminded me why Anthony's so good. Like he can just talk about anything, and he's raving, talking about aliens and talking about VR or whatever. I think he was talking about like connecting a chip in your brain or something. And man, it was classic Anthony conversation, and to find that right smack in the middle of such an amazing game, to the point where I can just sit down and just chill and listen to Anthony rants for a little bit. It was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, and I played through it twice for the video that I made recently. And the first time I played through it on WMR, and then the second time I played through it on Quest. And between the two playthroughs, there was different audio on the radio. Like there was a whole different thing than the other time I played it.
Oh, really? So I guess yeah, because there's two different things. I believe it loops through, at least from what I've heard. But yeah, this is your footage right here, of your playthrough. I thought the water looked so good in there, right? I just I couldn't believe how good this. I mean, I guess I do believe it because it's stone punk, but it was just really good.
Yeah, and you can you can explore this kind of hub world here, and that includes there are parts that you can swim under the water here right off the coast of the island.
Really? Well, I did go around everywhere, but I didn't. I mean, went to one of the islands out there because I was looking for the special cave, which I never found. But I did patrol everywhere. One of the coolest things, and this is just going to show my age. I know I wasn't alive in 1951. But I'm picking up all these records, and I don't know what they are. And then I just like as I'm fucking around in the house or the area for so long looking for that cave, I spent a lot of time in that beginning area, and I saw the records there, and they were like slots that were empty, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna see if I can put one of these on, and it was like the actual one of the actual episodes, and I'm assuming they've got them all in there, and I just put myself in somebody that maybe that as a kid you listened to those, or I did watch Tarzan as a kid, and just having that as an option, not only is it super cool, but it just adds to me how authentic this is, and the Tarzan brand got behind it as well. Like you don't just have episodes of a show in there, you know what I mean? It was really cool.
Yeah, Stone Punk Studios, the developer of this game, actually took quite a bit of inspiration from those older episodes, and from what I could tell from talking to Jay, um, when he would, get stuck for a moment trying to think about what direction he wanted to go with this kind of aesthetic or that, he would take some inspiration from these older, radio shows and comic books. So yeah, it really is fitting that they included that as a collectible in the game. It really helps to add for replayability because it gives you incentive to go back and explore. And as far as the cave that you're talking about goes, that was in the actual
Mm,
issue,
okay.
not in the overworld. And what Roots is talking about here is there's a cave that you can find in issue one that has the game credits on it, and listed in the special thanks section are Roots and myself. And I showed it off in the video there. Super cool. Never had anybody do anything like that for us before. So, even though this is, Stone Punk Studios saying thank you to us, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Stone Punk Studios for not only giving us access to this game, but for in general supporting our channel pretty much since the time that we started it. So if you're watching out there, guys, thank you very much. We do appreciate
Yeah, you can't thank us. We're thanking you, bro. We really appreciate
it.
it. So,
You don't appreciate me. I appreciate you. You get it?
yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
understand?
But so,
But
what do you think about the movement? You said like it's arcade style. Like, how cool was the swinging on the vines and stuff, right?
that was my favorite part of the game, Roots. All in all, it's a fairly straightforward arcade style beat 'em up. I mean, there's nothing, too crazy about what's going on here. You're running, you're finding the bad guys, you're grabbing them, and you're beating them up. Kind of like something you would do with a game like Path of the Warrior. The only difference being in Path of the Warrior, you're pressing buttons to throw punches and kicks. In this game, you're using your hands to do it, which is super cool. So that stuff was fairly basic, kind of easy at first, but with that said, the game has been patched since launch, and now the enemies are a bit more difficult. He put a health randomizer on them, so they're not going to all be so easy to kill anymore. So if you got into this game and you thought it was a little bit too easy to start off with, like I did, not so much the case anymore. But what you're saying there about the vine swinging, it's absolutely what makes this game special, in my opinion, other than the aesthetic, right? It's a beautiful jungle. The retro nostalgia sound effects really make it a special experience from an art perspective. But as far as gameplay goes, the swinging is where it's at. And then when you're able to swing and fight with the enemies, that was absolutely the best thing about the game to me.
Yeah, when you could swing and then it says attack, you just dive bomb on them. It's pretty cool. I want to check out some of the weapons. I so far I've only got the axe, the mighty axe. Have not found a slingshot. Did not find the knife, or any of
Yeah,
the other stuff.
I think that those are coming in future issues. I think each issue will introduce a new weapon. And Roots and I we did have access momentarily for the to the later issues of this thing, but this came. We literally got access to this title right at the point where I sold all my headsets and my
Mm,
graphics card. So I played through the first issue, sent my feedback in. Thanks to Fun Train, by the way, as well for allowing us to beta test this. Um, but I sent my feedback in for issue one, and then I couldn't play again for like almost 2 months. And by the time we got back into it, the structure had changed to the point where they were setting it up on Steam as
mm,
DLC, and we couldn't get into the later issues anymore. But the slingshot's in issue two, Roots,
okay.
and issue three is not yet available. But we do know a couple of things about it. We know, I know that there's going to be more of the stuff that I'm raving about. So there's going to be more swinging, more fighting, more of that sort of thing going on in that game, and plus some other cool stuff that I really can't talk about. But this is going to be one of those episodic things that each episode is better than the last. I have a feeling, and which is saying something because the first one's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, well, I think it's cool that they're open to listening to suggestions and changing stuff on the fly and making things better. And my thing is I'm glad I waited to, you know what I mean? I want to play it how it is now, not how it was a couple months. As a couple months ago. It's like you said, I didn't get a chance to get into the other episodes either. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully, well, not hopefully, we're going to have access to those at some point as well. Hopefully, it won't be too long, because I'm interested in. Well, again, I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about. But there's stuff coming that I want to try out, and I'll just leave it at that. Um, Ray Delator says, I thought the game was great. I really like the comic book aspect of it. Yeah, I really thought that was cool too. And this was literally, I think, the second game that I tried out on my HP Reverb G2. In that intro sequence, which has you flying through the comic book pages while they're playing the radio intro in the background, that was so awesome looking in the G2 because the 3D effect, it was popping just so heavily, and the retro nostalgia feel of it really was great.
wow, so I need to go get a G2 then. That's not
Yeah,
probably not the
that's
only one. The only reason.
well, you said that you needed to go pick Roots a Christmas present up, so
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
there you go.
yeah, and make myself homeless at the same time. That's good. But yeah, so that sounds good. I'm excited for episode 2 to come out. Now, how long is it going to be? I thought they were releasing the first 2 together.
They are you can get a bundle pack. I'm not
Okay.
sure about the second one. Again, I haven't had a chance to play the second issue, but it is available right now.
Okay. All right, because I didn't. It's still not an R thing. I guess we got to get that soon. They said they would. So cool.
Yeah. He said that since they had to change it into a DLC structure for Steam, they're both available right now, and you can get them as a bundle, but they're sold individually. That's the reason why it isn't unlocked for us anymore. But we're supposedly going to be getting keys for the DLC at some point.
Cool. Sounds good. Can't wait.
But a beautifully rendered. Arcade style game. It isn't very often that you talk about the stylistic aspects of arcade style games, but really, it's one of the strengths here in this game. Not only the awesome looking jungle, but the retro sound effects, all really cool. The gameplay fun as well, and the gameplay is something that I expect to get better as time goes on. Now let me ask you, Roots. These apes, these tutorial apes, I felt kind of silly at first because of the way that they just look at you and dance and talk to you in broken English. What did you think about these things?
To be honest, I was just like ready to go. I didn't pay too much attention to them dancing while I tried to fist bump them. They didn't fist bump me. I was a little disappointed about that, but no, it was weird, right? Because everybody's so excited about you, man. Like, you are famous, bro. Everybody knows
Yeah,
you, and they're all screaming your name, especially when they're stuck in the cage. They're like, "Hey, come over here, get me out of here." They get a little pissed off, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I guess they do kind of dance around, huh?
did you feel a little weird that every male ape in the jungle was so deeply concerned about Jane?
Yeah, that's my Jane, bro. They do seem like
I know, right?
they really like her, right?
Dude,
Yeah,
they really like her, like a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Yeah, they sure do. Well, I'll tell you what.
But
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, but apparently they don't like her enough to come and help Tarzan out because a couple of them literally bitch out when it's time for them to step up.
Yeah, yeah. That one kid was ready to go, and his parents were like, "No, you're not going." Like, man,
Yeah.
I was all excited, but yeah. So they just run along. I mean, it's pretty cool. They were a little bit excited.
Let me ask you this, Roots. What if we were to ever get it is an arcade style game, and I likened it to Path of the Warrior. But the one thing that Path of the Warrior had that this game doesn't have is co-op gameplay. So what if at some point in the future uh, they were to add co-op gameplay in, but one of the catches is if you're the second player, you have to be one of these ape things.
Ooh, well, I mean, if you want to be the ape, I can be Tarzan. No, just kidding. I think it'd be cool. Why not? They're already there, right? That'd be pretty cool. Maybe
Yeah,
you
I'm not
do it.
sure how good they are at fighting though, because I mean, half of them were in cages. Like, dude, really? These punk bad guys were so easy to smash, and you guys ended up in cages. What did they do? Throw bananas in there or something, and then close the door real quick?
They don't look very strong, the cages either. They're like made of
No,
bamboo, right? So
I punched the lock open, dude. I
if
literally used key hand to get it open.
yeah, but you're Tarzan, bro. Like you got special powers. What's the story behind Tarzan? How does he have the? I guess he got raised by apes, but how does that give him special powers, or does it? Honestly, I can't remember much about it.
He's just strong, dude. He's just
Okay,
strong like a Hulk, I guess.
yeah. Oh, see, that's not Anthony's radio, by the way. If you're gonna go in and look, it'll be on the right hand side of the thing. This one's just they have a lot of cool things like that. Like one of the things that I thought was kind of cool, and it's a little bit off the cuff, but it was like when you're coming up on a enemies farther away, and like the guy's talking, and he's like, "Oh, I don't see anybody here or whatever." But the way that they showed like a cut scene on top of it, where you could see the guys kind of walking. I don't know. It's like it's what I would have seen out of almost like a comic book or a cartoon or something. It was just it was really, I think that's right there where it's like stay alert, and the guys walk, it shows him walking around like zoomed in, but you can also see him down there. I just thought that was really artistic and really cool. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And again, it just goes back to the art and the aesthetic of the game. I mean, they nailed it there, right?
yeah, absolutely. So
And the way it comes in, the way it kind of flows in and out, the animation of it, it's like an arcade game.
yeah,
Like a big high budget arcade deal, like you would see in the arcade.
yeah. Oh, my favorite thing was to grab them and throw them around, have my
You
way
know, one
with
of
them,
these
Wes.
dudes said that he was going to party on my face.
You know who? Nah, I'm not even gonna go there. Never mind.
Yeah, the dude literally said, "I'm going to have a party on your face."
Wow, that's a weird comment. Do you think they said that? I don't think that they said that in 1951. I almost guarantee it. But I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe that was a common
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. I mean, I guess party people were partying back in the 50s as well.
Yeah, that's true. On your face.
You don't want to be a square, do you?
No, no, I don't want to be a square. Hell no.
Anyway, episode one, The Great Ape, awesome, fun. Episode two, I'm sure just as fun. Actually, I expect it to be even a little bit better. Can't wait to check it out. Available now on Steam, coming to the Oculus store as well at some point in the near future. I think they said that they expect it to happen at some point in the next month, Roots.
Hmm.
But
Crossbuy?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know about Quest support at all. But
Hmm.
there is they do have a newsletter that Fun Train, the publisher, has a newsletter that if people are interested in this, they can keep up with it there. I'll try to remember to link that in the description in case anyone's interested in keeping up with the day to day on this title. It's super cool, and I think you should check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Roots. We've had a lot of talk here lately. It seems like it keeps coming up every week. A different piece of equipment gets released for VR, and it's always some expensive thing that's promising to do something magical for your VR experience. And some of the stuff I think is kind of silly. Other things I think is kind of cool. But it seems like anytime I bring any of the cool stuff to you, you're like, nah, dude, I don't want any friction. I just want to put the headset on and play. So I thought it would be an interesting conversation for us to talk a little bit about accessories in VR. From the very smallest things to the newer, more advanced stuff, the stuff that's not even out yet. Talk about what it does, what it costs, and is it worth it? Not only is it worth the cost, but is it worth the trouble? And I felt like it was a pretty good topic for us to broach here, and I think you agreed with me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is friction, man. Like people don't think about the friction. I've been having issues, and this is I found out, Wes, last night. And I've got to verify it. I've even bought an extra cable that's not even, so you probably the one you have, the USB one that's like $30 for the Oculus Link because I kept getting disconnected. I mean, I couldn't stay connected. I decided last night to do a factory reset, and it seems to have fixed everything. So
Awesome.
my takeaway is you shouldn't go in and out of VR with your headset going to sleep over and over and over and over and over and over again for a month straight, because it whatever it was doing, it just caused issues. And then as soon as I did a factory reset, it fixed it all, but it also caused another 2 hours of troubleshooting as far as like just verifying going into this game, making sure it runs good, and you know what I mean, like friction. So yeah, I know what you're talking about for sure.
Yeah, I would contend that any kind of computer system or anything that has a CPU and a GPU in it and memory, you should reboot it fairly regularly because it just needs that. It needs it to clear the temporary memory and all the caches, and just to it'll run better overall if you let it get some rest every now and then.
Yeah, well, and then my thing was is Wes, I had it. Right now, I've turned off the ability for it to go to sleep over till like 4 hours because I'm an adult. I can tell it when it needs to shut off and when it doesn't. Because what was happening is I would take it off for even a minute, or I'd put it up on my forehead to do something while I'm streaming, and that in that 15 seconds that it gives you, even less, it would all of a sudden go to sleep, and then I would have to come back in, and now the thing's all weird, and it was getting to the point where when I tried to hook my Oculus Link, it just wasn't doing it anymore, and it would keep kicking me out. So I just think that whatever I was doing, like you said, it just needs to be refreshed, and definitely does. I don't know why you need that option to go to sleep after 15 seconds. That seems a little extreme to me.
Yeah,
So
I know. I know. I guess it's a battery saving measure because the battery life isn't the best as it is. But if you're hooked up on Link, you'd think that they would adjust that, right? That they would let it go just a little bit longer before they shut it off.
yeah, or just don't let it break it. Because like was almost to the point when I may still do it where I was going to put the tape over the sensor like you suggested. Because when I stream, I'm not in there for 8 hours straight. I might come out for like a minute or two here or there. I got to get air. So I don't know, man. But I'm glad it's fixed, and I got to test this cord. Make sure I bought a separate cord just to make sure it wasn't the cable. I'm still gonna do the old swapperoo with my link cable because it'll be a freshie in a month, and I'll just send
Check
back.
out Tarzan. Check out him out.
Yeah,
Wop.
he's whapping people. Yeah, dude,
Dude, that's
this
so fun.
it is. It's definitely worth checking out.
Hopefully Jay will line up 100 of these dudes in episode 3 and let me swing and knock them out because they're jerks. They want to party on my face.
Yeah, dude, no one's partying on Wes's face unless he gives you express permission. So that doesn't sound right.
Anyway, let's talk about these accessories a little bit, Roots, and let's start at the beginning. Some of the more common stuff, some of the stuff that gets used, frequently in our community are gun stocks. Gun stocks, actually, one of my more coveted accessories. This is actually something that I feel like I would use if I had one, but this is something, Roots, that's just for what it is. I don't think there's any question that it's overpriced, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and this is the thing. I need one that's specifically made for Pop One. It's definitely overpriced, but it depends on what I guess how much you want to have one. I've thought so many times, Wes, especially in Pop One, I don't have a steady arm like for sniping. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have a virtual gun stock like contractors does. So I can put it up against my shoulder and it'll get steady. It's moving all over the place. I'd love to have a gun stock, and I feel like I'm at a disadvantage whenever I go up against rendered reality because they do, and they'll kill me, Wes.
Yeah, rendered reality actually uses what I once thought of as the off-brand, but I guess they're pretty popular now. They use the Mamu Apto 2.0, which is it's about $180
Oh
for that
shit!
one.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
That's a
but I
HOTAS.
mean yeah, but when you look at the competitor, who I looked at as being the the name brand ProTube. ProTube only costs um, $100. So actually, the one that the rendered reality is using actually isn't the cheaper option. It's actually the more expensive one.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with the money. If it's better, more expensive, it's got to be better. No, just kidding. No, my thing is it's got to be something that I can use and switch around easily for population one. And I know that's got to be shorter because I got to climb stuff. Like most of these gun stocks aren't designed for you to be just dropping it. Now, I did see in one video one guy he had it like around like a strap around his neck, and he would just he'd drop it and grab his controllers or whatever. But I feel like it would be difficult in some games to use these gun stocks that they're using, like this one here in population one. How do I climb? How does that thing come apart? You know what I mean?
Well, most of them use magnets. You can just pull your controllers right off of the thing, but I don't know what would happen to your actual stock if you were using both hands. Where does it go? I guess it's strapped to you in some way.
Yeah, you'd have to let go. But even that, as I'm doing this, it's going to be swinging around and it's going to be awkward. Ideally, like Proper D has ones that I guess it looks like it just has two pieces that are in his hand and then they clip together. It's really small. And maybe that would work. I don't know, but I definitely would. Before this, I would have said, before Pop One, but now I kind of want to go pro, Wes. How do I go pro without a gun stock? I'm not
Yeah,
going
well, I
pro.
get it, and I gotta hand it to ProTube here because their stuff used to cost a lot more. Last time I was on here, I mean these things cost a lot more than what they do now. So to be able to get one for $100, I mean that's not too bad actually, and that's the mag tube, the one with
Hmm.
the nice magnets and stuff in it.
Does that make you
Uh,
feel like getting one?
it's still a little bit high in my opinion, but it's not as bad as it used to be. We'll say
Okay.
that.
Well, what about
Now
friction?
the one that I really the friction, yeah, I mean what you're talking about here, everything that you just said, that's friction, that's for sure. The question is, does the benefit outweigh the cost? And I feel like here it certainly would because we are at a disadvantage when we play these types of games because the long range weapons, the ones that I prefer to use, you can't really steady an aim quite as well as someone who's using one of these stocks. So yeah, I think if I had one, I would use it. But then again, I don't think that I play these games enough to warrant $100 purchase for one.
Yeah, true. Well, it looks like there's a lot of parts to it, I guess. I guess it'd be the initial, even just getting it set up would be friction, I guess, in and
Yeah,
of
because
itself.
yeah, and it's not just the friction of putting the thing together, which is a crazy amount of work in its own right, but there's also the fact that the games themselves don't all just automatically work when you go into them. I mean, um, you have to calibrate, right? Each game has to be calibrated for your gun stock to get it to work. So that's even more friction, right? You have to go in and not only put this thing together, but you have to set the actual game up, each individual game, to use it.
I guess that's pretty much like every periphery or every extra thing, right? Like the wheel, the like everything you got to set it up different. And my thing is like even just putting this thing, I feel like that you're putting a desk together or something. That's a lot of parts. Now, I mean, granted, once it's done, it's good, but do you have to like change some of those things as well? I'm assuming you have to change some of those settings a little bit for certain games too, correct? Like maybe
Yeah, I got
unscrew
to
this or
imagine. Well, I mean, I think that it would probably the actual physical form of it would stay pretty consistent throughout, but depending on how much give and movement you have with the handles and stuff over time, you may have to recalibrate in
mm,
game as you start to drift off your original setting.
I'm tired after watching this video of them putting it together, let alone doing it myself. But I guess you only do it once. It wouldn't be that big a deal. And it even has a little clip for your Allen wrench. How cool is that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's extremely well made product, and I'd certainly would hope to get to try one out one day. But Roots, when I'm dreaming of playing with a gun stock, this isn't the one that I'm dreaming of. What I'm dreaming of is the Force Tube from ProTube. Now, this thing, dude, is friggin' amazing because it has a module built into the butt of the thing, the part that you stick up to your shoulder, that gives you real recoil. It's not just a buzzy little, bit of haptics, but this thing really kicks into your shoulder, and it's coordinated with the game, right? It's in time with it so that it gives you another level of immersion. So something like this, I could certainly be down for. I've wanted to use one of these things since the day that I learned that it was a real thing, and this just looks amazing to me.
Yeah, that guy's beard looks amazing to me. Why does mine have to be so wild, bro? It's taken a long time to get all controlled, but yeah, no, I agree. The force tube. No, I'm torn on the force tube, and not because I wouldn't want it, but I don't know that recoil is going to make it easier for me to shoot. Like, you know what I mean? That's what makes it harder in real life is like the recoil, right? But I guess maybe if you want to get better in real life, this would be a good way to do it. And it definitely 100% would add immersion. And this is one of those
That's
things, Wes, where I wouldn't be like, I've been opposed to different things being friction. I don't know how Force Tube would be any more friction than, say, Pro Tube. You know what I mean? I think it would actually be, just as easy and be cool.
Well, the only friction it would really give you is what you just described. It might make actually winning the game a little bit more difficult.
Mm.
But, most of these accessories aren't designed to make it easier for you to win. It's designed to immerse you in the game more, which is kind of why we play VR. This just looks awesome to me. Until I start thinking about buying one.
Mm.
Because when you go and you look on the website here, Roots, and again, this is British pounds or euros or something. It's not American dollars, but the 99 for the mag tube, 415 for the force tube.
Wow.
So quite a bit of a cost difference here. Expensive accessory.
Wow. What I would be down for is this force tube to send a couple to Wes and me. Let us check it out and talk about it on the show. That sounds good to me. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
expensive, dude. 415, bro. Like that's one third of a yaw, dude. Everything is in yaw currency to me. Um,
yeah, I've noticed that.
it's there's so many things I could do with $400. I mean, I could make the argument that I could stock up on more food and with $400. You know what I mean? Like, but I would love to have a force tube though. I think if of all the types that I would want, even though it may make me less accurate, I think the immersion level would make it that much better, right? So
Yeah, dude. I got to imagine that even if you had a force tube, you would even want to use it on more things than just competitive matches, right? You'd be playing any kind of shooter that you could get to calibrate with the thing. You'd be playing with it. I would become the proverbial Call of Duty gamer overnight if I had one of these things.
yeah, I think I would end up playing Population One more if that's possible.
How is that possible,
I
right?
don't know, man. I did take the last day and a half off. I might play a little bit tonight, but yeah, I'm loving that game, bro. I'm trying to break 1,000 hours in the first month. I don't know.
Like Zero Caliber, for example. There's a game that if I had a tube, I'd probably live in a game like Zero Caliber.
We need to go in there, dude, because I just picked it up on the sale on
Me
the Humble
too.
Bundle. So, and I've never played it. It was one of those games that I wanted to check out, but I was never willing to pay $25 or whatever it was. And so,
I, I think we just nailed down the Monday show or the Money Show number 7, Roots.
hell yeah, dude.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like I need
yeah,
a force tube. I need it
so
too.
here we have with gun stocks. I think the consensus here is that the friction not too much, right? Even though it's a considerable amount of friction, the benefit outweighs the cost here in that realm, and the actual cost in money, that's a little bit more debatable. You know, we had the force tube, as awesome as it is, that's too much of a cost monetarily. The pro tube, it's right on that line, right? And we even saw one not that long ago, a generic one that looked pretty good for around $80. And then we have Overgees. Overgees made his own roots, and he said it was a game changer for him.
Wow, well, I need you to send me one overG's. Overg's approved, and I'll Michigan it up, and I'll own. I don't know. I'm not somebody that would be inclined to make my own. That takes
That's the
some.
ultimate amount of friction, isn't it? Actually making one from scratch.
Well, if you're good at stuff like that, like I'm not. I'm not the craftiest person at building stuff. So I like to take other people's. Like people are like, oh, you can just 3D print that. Well, I don't have a 3D printer, and I don't feel inclined to track one down. So I'm not 3D printing shit, dude. Uh, so I don't know, but yeah,
All right. So I think my whole thing with the gun stocks is I've kind of came into PCVR spoiled a little bit, Roots, because I started on PlayStation VR, and I started out with the aim controller, and the aim controller gives you, uh, most of the benefits of a gun stock, and it's affordable, and it has haptics, and it just works, and it's amazing. And I'm still dumbfounded why a consumer friendly company like Facebook hasn't seen the light here and hasn't provided something similar to this for their platform.
yeah, it would be nice, right? I guess this is tracked. I mean, everything about the aim controller is amazing, right? I mean, of course,
Yeah,
it's
dude. I mean, it does drift when the battery gets low, or if your camera setup is suspect, and a lot of that has to do with the game as well too, because a game like Firewall certainly drifts more than a game like Farpoint does.
well,
And then Unearthing Mars drifts more than Firewalls does. So it's on a game by game basis. But when you're in Farpoint, which is a game that was specifically designed for the aim controller, the aim controller was specifically designed for Farpoint. It works perfectly, and it's really awesome.
you got to figure the tracking limitations of the camera if you were to bring something like that into PC aren't going to exist, and they could probably have it be super super amazing, right? Like phenomenally tracked with that little ball on the end, and your headsets, no matter where you go with your gun, it's always going to be within view, right? So I think that they could make a really good PC one. I don't know cost wise what it would cost. I don't know what the aim controller costs to make, but I would imagine they could do it for less than the Pro Tube, maybe. I don't know.
And when you think about all of the onward gamers and all of the contractors and all of these people who play competitive shooters in PC VR slash Quest, I mean, I got to think it would be a hit, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it would be really good, and I think people would love it. Now, Drillo says he doesn't understand how the gun stock works. Do you, when you need both hands free to use two pistols, for example, does it flop around? That's the video I saw. One guy, he had it around the strap, he dropped it, grabbed his controllers. But if you've watched Proper D do Population One, whatever gun stock he's using, it's literally it's attached to the two controllers, and it's really small. And when he grabs it, he's still able to have both hands individual. So I would imagine if you use something like that, it would solve that issue. But yeah, you're gonna end up having that thing bouncing around when you drop it, well, at least on
So
the.
the one you're talking about doesn't have a butt stock on it, right? It's just connects the two controllers.
Yeah, and I don't know, saying that's what he was using and saying as far as for climbing and stuff. But that would be the thing is like that's what I need is that steadiness of it up against your shoulder. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. There's got to be some kind of an answer, but maybe the virtual gun
Uh,
stock with the other two small ones. I don't know.
Yeah, that thing that he's using is actually like the starter thing from ProTube. It's like $50. There's no butt stock with it. It just literally connects
Hmm.
the two controllers to one another.
Okay. So yeah, so maybe that would be, if I think they need to add a virtual gun stock just for the people that don't have gun stocks, and then if you maybe you combined them between that $50 package, would you be down to that? $50 is a easy entry, right?
And you know, aim controller doesn't have any butt stock. I mean, you still have the friction of setting it up and calibrating it and all. And when it comes to the aim controller, there's literally zero friction other than, you know, tracking issues. Um, but because it is a controller, right? It is the controller, no friction involved. But I mean, if you think that using the aim controller is a good experience without a butt stock, I got to imagine using that smaller Pro Tube would probably be very similar to that.
Yeah, you just convinced me I'm getting it. I don't know. Maybe I will. That sounds good.
There's another gift idea for Roots.
Yeah, sure. Bring in the gifts for Roots. For me to get myself. Um,
Right, exactly.
I'll tell you what. What better day to get yourself a gift than Wednesday night, Thursday morning, right? Like Black Friday. That's usually might as well. A lot of people put on. I know you're one of these people, Wes, because you're actually smart this way. Put off all those things you need to get until it's on sale, and then I guess that's how you have all your stuff, right? Like
Yeah. Well,
wheeling
we've
and
got
dealing.
most of it. We got most of it this last few weeks because the you know with the COVID and people not going in stores, they've kind of spread the sales out a little bit, which is kind of cool. So we've got most of our shopping done. Still
Nice.
have a couple of big things that I'm looking for this week, and fully expect to have them by this time next week.
Awesome. Cool. Sounds good, man.
But let's move on to the next thing here. I think gun stocks. The consensus is it would be cool to have, uh, worth the cost and friction. Maybe not so much with money, depending on which one you get. But I think we're giving gun stocks a thumbs up here. Um, and that brings us to the HOTUS. This is something Roots that I really never had an interest in until recently with the release of Star Wars Squadrons. I really could care less if I had a HOTUS. But you bought one, and you really enjoyed it there for a little while.
Yeah, no, I need to get back into it and start playing some flying games, and then I'll enjoy it again. I joke that it's too much friction, but I'm looking at these ones. I was looking at these videos, okay, because this is what I keep hearing from Jim Hall, and I keep hearing from Overgees about my entry level HOTUS, which it works really well. But man, these things are intricate, dude. I don't know. There's so many dials and buttons and switches on these high end ones. And they say, and Overg says, I guess the one he has, I don't know what, some fancy thing. You know how Overg is fancy. Um, it's like he says, like using a legit one that you would use in a fighter pilot thing because he's, I guess, been in one, and that sounds really cool to me, and it sounds expensive as fuck. But yeah, so
Yeah. Again, here I don't think that there's a whole lot of friction involved with these. Right? These are literally controllers. I imagine most of them are just plug and play, aren't they?
yeah, for the most part. But I mean, you have some friction where, sometimes I've had to remap a couple of buttons on certain games. I would imagine the longer the game that comes out, and there's certain things that I don't know what most of this stuff does. But, for the most part, there is no friction. But like Overload, when I did Overload, there was a point where, for whatever reason, I couldn't get it to go, was it backwards or forwards? I had to remap a button just to go backwards. Everything else was perfect, but there was some weirdness with the slider thing. It just didn't want to register to go forward and go back. And so I always go forward. I could go backwards and I could go, if I put it in the middle, it would go slow. And if I pulled back, it would stop. And then I had to do something to go forward. But other than that, that's the only friction I've gotten in. It's kind of what I would equate the same friction you were saying about your G2 and you thought it was going to be difficult and then you just switched a button and it was not that as bad as you thought. It's kind of like that. You just switch a key binding and then everything's good. So that's the
Yeah.
one
Well,
over G's has the Warthog. He says it's the
it,
beast.
oh, yeah, it looks like a beast. Another thing here with these HOTUSes and or HOTI, I don't know what the proper plural pronunciation is, but the one thing with these sticks, other than the fact that I don't play very many of these kind of games, I really question how much more can they immerse you really. I mean, it's not like a wheel and pedals, which we'll get to, where you've got all this different stuff going on. This is literally just you being able to do this. How much really, Roots, does this increase your immersion in these kinds of flying
It
games?
does for me, especially if your hand is doing that in the game. You know what I mean? Match everything matching up. When you're using your controllers and you're using your thumbstick and your hand is moving stuff around, that should be immersion breaking. For some people it isn't, but everybody says everything else is immersion breaking, but then they selectively don't look at this or that. But for me, it's weird, dude, because I would have told you exactly what you just said. How much like it's just this, dude. You know what I mean? But it got me to the point where I wanted to try every game. And it was just it's just for me it was so game changing that I haven't been back for months. But I blame Population One, Quest Two, and the heat of the summer. But I definitely it made my enjoyment of flying games 10 times better. And I know Overgees would agree. Of course, he's a flying fanatic. So, but
Right.
yeah.
You know who else loves doing this, Roots?
My
Oh
mom!
man, she's got busy hands. I'll tell you what, Andrew Kuro says he only paid 40 for his Throttle Master T-Flight HOTUS 4, so he's happy with it. I paid double for the exact same HOTUS as you have, and I'm also happy with it at $80. I don't think they're that expensive. Now, if you're gonna go the Warthog, I mean, you're talking because I know Jim Hall went down this road, and that's how Jim Hall rolls. He wants the best of the best. He started looking at that Warthog and stuff, and you're talking same prices as you were about that Force Tube, like 400 or 500 bucks, bro. And that's a lot of money for a throttle and a pedals, to me anyway. Oh, and the
Yeah,
joystick.
I'm kind of down with $40. $40 is cool. I've spent more than that on DualShock, so I'm okay with that. It was when you start getting up to around 80, 90, $100, and the fact that there are two of these games, maybe three of them that I would play, and that's it. That seems a bit much to spend. Friction wise, though, I really don't think that there's anything that would make me averse to checking out a HOTUS. I just don't think it's my scene. It's not my type of game. I want to play Squadrons because I'm a Star Wars fan, and I want to play Microsoft Flight Simulator because it's just so beautiful. But other than that, I really wouldn't have a use for one of these.
I will tell you this, Wes. As much as you're just saying you want to play Microsoft Flight Sim, that game benefited from having the HOTUS, and I'll tell you why. Because the controls are all fucking crazy, dude. Like, there's just a lot of shit going on, and even just get it to be level. I found once I had the HOTUS, it was like everything was right there, and it was made sense, and it was going to make it that much better and of an experience for that. But I mean, there's people that play it with the keyboard, and I don't get that either. So
Well, you kind of have to right now, right? You got to play with the keyboard and edit your registry, and then all of a sudden
no.
you're good to go, bro.
Yeah, and then
Enjoy your
hopefully
VR.
your computer doesn't catch on fire. I don't. I try to listen to people when they say don't fuck with your registry. Now, granted, I know that it's like specific and it's do this. Shouldn't mess up your computer, but it could. The reality is it could. And I guarantee wherever they tell you to do that, they warn you of that. I almost would be shocked if they didn't warn you.
Oh, they
So
do for sure. They do. Yeah.
yes, I just
Anyway,
I stay away. No, go
yeah,
ahead.
me too. I think we'll wait for a little bit better integration with the VR support. Something tells me we're going to be waiting a while, Roots.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, Overgees did say he's had the cheap ones and he has the Warthog now, and he totally is a big difference better for him. And you know, It just depends on how much time you spend in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was really my verdict here when it comes to the flight sticks. Not much cost in terms of friction, not much cost in terms of money. So if this is your sort of thing, I have no problem with anybody picking one of these up. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that brings us to wheels and pedals, Roots. And this is something that really wasn't my thing either until I got more into VR. And the more I think about it, the more I would really enjoy having one of these. I don't have a bunch of driving games that I really want to play, but compared to flight games, there's probably three or four times as many of them. And I feel like, unlike the little stick action, I feel like these big wheel and pedal setups with the force feedback would really help a lot to
Mm.
immerse you in these kinds of racing games. So I'm really kind of interested in these. And as time goes on, my interest is only growing.
Well, I'll tell you what, those expensive HOTASes have feedback as well. Mine doesn't, of course. But there's a difference here, and there's a lot of people don't know this, and I went down this road down shortly. I probably will go down the road again once I find the correct one to get. And it may be the one that they show at the end, but it's so expensive. I don't know if I could do it, Wes. But my thing is you got the belt driven, you've got the gear driven, and you have the direct, right? And each one of them has a different feel. And I had the belt, I believe. I think the gear is the worst one. The two entry level ones for me, they just shake, dude. Like that's they're letting you know you're going over bumps. Is the steering wheel shaking? And I don't. It for me, it's immersion braking because I've never had to do this in real life. When I'm driving, it's smooth. I make my turns. It's like a direct steering wheel, and that's why it's so expensive. It doesn't. It's just immersion braking, and then talk about the friction. I had so much friction, and I that's where my problem is. I need to find the right wheel to go back into it because the one I had, the Logitech shit, was so finicky and such a nightmare to try to find things to make it work that I took it back within a few days because it was just too much work for me, and I hated it, Wes. I wanted to smash it, and I needed to get my money back quick.
So yeah, they had that one on sale on Amazon not that long ago for about $220, and I took a long hard look at it because it has an extended return window right now. I could keep it for a month, 6 weeks, and try it out, and then get my money back if I don't like it. But then I remember my good friend Roots here and everything he said about it, and I remember it took you days to find even a driver for this thing.
Yeah. And that was the issue too, is like it was very weird. It was like half baked and here you go. And now the people swear by it if they get it all working. But I think the Thrustmaster, if I'm not mistaken, and that's I believe that the top end one that's at the end of this video. I think. I don't know. I know the Thrustmaster has better drivers. They seem to be the ones to go with. And when I look at the community and they're talking about wheels and they recommend, that's what people recommend. But I could be wrong.
What do you think about the cost of these? They all seem a little bit. I mean, you can get cheap ones, but the cheap ones are garbage. I mean, read the reviews on it. To get a good one, you're out at least $200. I think maybe the first good Thrustmaster might be a little under $200. But I mean, to get a really good one, you're talking $300-400. And again, we're talking about a limited use case here. It's not a something you're going to be able to use in every game, but only just a few games. And to be honest, with the games I want to play, there's probably only about 5 of them. So I think the cost here for someone like me, monetarily, it's way more than any kind of benefit I would get from it.
So you wouldn't go the direct drive one, as it's like over $1,000, whatever it is, because they use a literal actual motor that's like
You can buy cars for $1,000, Roots.
well, and that's the thing. You start to go up this enthusiast path, right? You start to spend real money. And they like this thing's so powerful, Wes, that it warns you that it could break your arm if like it were to do something weird and you were holding on to it. It'll turn so fast and so hard it'll snap your arm, dude. um it's got that much power in it. But what the difference is it's like a real steering wheel. When you steer I mean, it feels like a real steering wheel, but it's expensive as fuck. It's like over $1,000. And like you said, at that point I'm gonna nope out because this isn't my deal. Now Jorillo says you can adjust the haptic strength in the options, and that, I guess that's the more friction, dude. Like, let me ask you this, Jorillo: was Roots able to get it working in said game to adjust the haptics? Because he may have not been able to get it to working in that game, whatever game it is. That was my biggest gripe with that wheel, is it just seemed very difficult to get things to work. And maybe it's just me. I mean, Jorillo seemed like you got Vorpex skills, bro. I don't have Vorpex skills. I need to get both of those skills. So
Well, friction is friction. Even if you know what you're doing, it's still a little bit of a pain in the ass, right? To have to do anything. When I'm talking about controller peripherals, I want to plug them in and have them work. I kind of understand being able to install a driver, and then that should be it, though. I shouldn't have to tweak it. I shouldn't have to constantly be going into settings to get it just right. It should just work.
yeah, I agree, especially for something you spent that kind of money. And maybe it does. Maybe I'm having more difficult. But like I couldn't even find that driver for days. It was hard to find it, and then I was able to get it to actually register as the wheel, but even that had some weirdness to it. So uh,
So at the end of the day here, I think that for guys like you and myself, that the friction cost outweighs the benefit, and the price cost also outweighs the benefit. But with that said, my interest in these are growing, and I do think that I'm going to end up with one of these routes. I don't think that it'll probably be a brand new one. I think I will probably find the same Logitech one that you had used on Facebook or on Craigslist or something, and I'll end up picking it up at some point uh, for an amount of money that's a little closer to my price range.
you're not gonna get this Fanatic one. This is the one I was talking about. That's got that direct drive, and it looks pretty fancy to me, Wes.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I've considered it more since I got that G2 because it's another level of realism, right? So uh, things like this tend to take on more value when your other equipment is on that level.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I there is part of me wants to have a wheel. A part of me that feels a little jealous when I hear Radio Runt talking about playing Dash Dash or touring carts or whatever with the wheel.
Dude,
Um,
I just want to play Dirt Rally with a wheel.
yeah.
Like I've got Dirt Rally, and I've put it off playing it all this time because I want to play it with a wheel. I still haven't played the game
Hmm.
because I want to do it with a wheel. But I think I'm going to have to just break down and break a controller out and play it because I think it is probably still a very immersive game, even with controller gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So from here, we're starting now to get outside the realm of common accessories and peripherals and make our way to the edges, to the borders, to the outside of the less common things. But some people do use vibe trackers, Roots. And, it never ceases to amaze me the number of applications that there are out there for what is basically just a point tracker. You place it on something, you tell the program what this point is, and it tracks it through space for you accurately.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of this until recently when I started playing some VR chat Among Us. And this is VR chat. I'm assuming that's what this is, but look at the moves you can do, bro. Like, can you imagine if you were the person getting to do those moves? Everyone else is just kind of like stick figures, and then you get to like do legit dances. You could do the MC Hammer. You could do whatever you want, bro, and you'd be impressing everybody. And people get dirty
Yeah.
in there for some reason, Wes. VR chat gets pretty dirty if you haven't found that out. I think these trackers could help.
I, I think that that is probably 90% of the use case for this particular accessory is social applications in VR like VR chat.
Yeah. Well, my question is how would as a Oculus, I'm not a fanboy, but people would say I am. I've only had Oculus headsets. As an Oculus aficionado, how do I get in this tracking thing with the Vive trackers? Because they don't exist. I don't have the base stations. You know what I mean?
I think, and this is just pure speculation on my part. I think we are going to get this kind of tracking. I don't think it's going to be through the use of these types of sensors, but I think that it's a very strong possibility that the next PlayStation VR platform is going to use that new HD camera to provide this type of body tracking. So,
Yeah, well, it's true. And you know what'll be cool is like how if they have like a little sensor, like just a sticker or something, a magnet, or just something you just place wherever you want it. That'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, your headset could track it. You could do a karate kick like that. Be cool.
if it used a different type of tracking, like there are different types of inside out tracking. One of them is like an electromagnetic type of tracking that the Pico Neo, for example, uses. And it's supposedly very accurate and it can
Hmm.
track everywhere, even behind your back. Your headset doesn't have to see it like the Oculus inside out tracking. So I could see this type of accessory becoming useful in a future headset, maybe from Oculus, that doesn't use visual tracking, but rather uses the electromagnetic tracking.
Yeah, yeah. Or even maybe they just make that hand tracking so good that it tracks your whole body, and then you don't even have to worry. And then they got your whole body in there. That'd be cool.
Well, they would have to sell an accessory like a camera, like an external camera, I think, to do that. I don't think you'd be able to do that well enough from
From the
your
headset.
head looking down at your body.
Yeah, true. That'd be cool though.
But Roots, right now we're talking about Vive trackers specifically, and you talk about friction. I always see these guys with this shit taped all over their body, and just think, man, these guys are dedicated to some VR chat, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, as a streamer, I could see maybe, you know, you want to make good content or whatever, but for the average person, I'm not going to strap all this shit on there just to go into VR chat and be a very elaborate version of Rick Sanchez, you know. I just it doesn't appeal to me. I guess some people really they want to be that person, Wes. They want to be that person that's the star of the show, right? You're in this room and you're the one person that is running around and fucking kicking and karate kicking shit, you know. People are like, oh my god, that's cool, you know. I just it seems like a lot of work for me and money.
I guarantee you, it would attract a lot of females to you in the VR chat,
Ooh.
for no other reason than the fact that these things cost $100 a piece,
Oh
and
Jesus.
anybody that you see that has every joint of their body tracked by one of these Vive trackers, you know that this motherfucker's got some coin in his pocket. So I got to imagine that the females are quite attracted to these Vive tracker dudes in VR chat.
Yeah, or if it's a chick, now I'm attracted. You're just attracted roots, gold digging roots.
So what do you think about the price of them, dude? They're like $100 a piece.
I think that's ridiculous. I don't see what makes them $100 a piece. You know, like at some point, that's not even a controller, bro. You know what I
You
mean?
know
You
what?
don't need
You know what
any.
makes
Yeah. Well,
you
how
know
much
what
is it?
makes them cost that?
What?
The it's from HTC.
Oh,
That's exactly what.
that's true. Well, because I'm saying, okay, so it's exactly the same as a controller, except it doesn't have any of the controller shit in there. It just has the basics that senses it. Should be a quarter of the cost of a controller, half maybe. You know,
Yeah.
then people would buy them, you know, 20, 30, $40. I'd buy a handful of them if I had HTC. Why not?
They should come in a 5 pack for like $125.
Yeah, dude. Now you're talking. Let's do it. No, wait, we don't own HTC. Well, it is. It's HTC. So hopefully another company does something like this. I think it is cool. I think it'd be a lot cooler if they just had it, like you said, a box or something you could stick across the room, and it's the VR chat box, and it just maps your body, and you can use it for Just Dance as well or whatever. I don't know. That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the applications are limited. The cost is great. The friction cost is great. I think thumbs down on this one, right?
Yeah, it'd be a big thumbs down for me. No, wait. I forgot Tornuffalo. I could now jump the scraps of metal, dude. I'm good. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
rethinking
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Tornuffalo being on Viveport like that, I mean, it might work.
Think about this, Wes. If to be able to take advantage of Tornuffalo, you need to have invested an extra $200 in your setup, and then you get the Tornuffalo Dream game. So
Yeah, we act like we didn't like it, but it wasn't meant for us, right?
that's right. Yeah, I don't have trackers. I don't have a Vive headset. So
There you go. So from there we get to the realm of the speculative, the futuristic, the stuff that's coming, the stuff that's being realized in laboratories all around the country today, Roots, the things that we want, the things that are going to bring the Ready Player One experience to all of our homes in 10 years. The things like the VR gloves, Roots, we've seen a lot of this in 2020, right? Seems like every other month, VR Oasis or Nathy or Sebastian or somebody's got a pair of these damn gloves on. And I think that the vision of what they're trying to pull off here is cool. I think that it's something that I would like to experience in VR, being able to actually feel the things that I pick up in VR and the things I interact with my hands. But I don't know that things like this monstrosity that we're looking at, I'm not so sure that this is the answer.
no, it's not there. This particular hand thing is not there yet. I equate it with going back 20 years or 15 years or 10 or whenever it was, and the old school VR headsets that were like this big, and you know what I mean, and you could kind of get VR, but it was like no one's going to wear that in real life, bro. That's where we're at. We're at the enthusiasts, the YouTubers, and the people that make content are enjoying checking these things out, and people are enjoying watching them. But the practicality of it is zero, in my opinion, anyway.
So these are the Dexmo gloves, right?
Yeah, Dexmo. Yep.
I'm going to see if I can get a price on these things because I'm quite sure they're not very cheap, but they do seem to be effective, right? But the thing is, with this sort of stuff, um, it always costs so much, and they use that HTC excuse that it's not for you, bro. This is for enterprise,
Mm.
right? Because there's so many places out there that are trying to train people in VR that need that need these gloves when they know damn well that the only people that are going to actually buy these things are the friggin' multi-millionaire VR enthusiasts.
Yeah. I mean, if you got tons of money, why not? Be something cool to check out. I can't imagine strapping them on every time I wanted to play because let's be real. I mean, it's just like everything else. What applications can I use these on? You're not just going to strap them on and use it for everything. Maybe a couple things, couple games. So it means you're going to be taking them off, putting them back on. And, I think grabbing stuff is going to get old. If you incorporate it in something that is used in an every game type of thing, like it will be down the road. But that's the thing is when you see stuff like this, it's not for us. It's not even for enterprise. It's to show that you can do it and then make a smaller, more applicable version of it, right? And so I feel like we're a few years away from seeing anything. I mean, ultimately, what you need is a pair of biker gloves or something thin type of gloves that you could put on. Sensors are in it. Doesn't even feel like you've got anything on. That's when you'll see this type of shit going on mainstream, in my opinion.
Well, Dexmo gloves cost $1,200.
Ooh.
The wired version.
Oh.
You can get them wirelessly for 1,500.
Oh wow. That's in yaw dollars. That's exactly the yaw. I could get the yaw and I could be happy.
But I submit this to you, Roots. Imagine having on gloves that allow you to feel things in VR. Now imagine support from VR Paradise.
Ooh. Well, yeah. Now, the thing is I want the special sleeve that comes
I
with.
just sold like 10 pairs of these gloves, dude.
Yeah, the glove. Well, you need the extra special sleeve for there's a lot of applications where I think that would be, but and see even this, like if you could grab stuff and you could feel heat or you could feel like touch, all you're gonna feel is the force feedback, right? I would imagine that's the only thing you're gonna
Well,
really
actually,
feel.
I'm not sure about the Dexmo gloves in particular, but there's a bunch of different types of these gloves. I know Oculus uh, just bought out a company that's working on these types of things, and they have multiple sensations in their technology, not only force feedback, but also different types of
Hmm.
sensations that come across to your hands in their prototype.
Yeah, cool. Well, down the road, man, who knows what the hell things are gonna be, but I mean, obviously anything that's gonna make us feel more immersed is good. Um,
But
you
then
know,
you have something like the VR free gloves, and those seem a little bit more. Um, I don't know. They seem a little bit more plausible to me. Of course, they can't do what the Dexmo gloves do, but what they can do is be comfortable, easy to use. I mean, you talk about friction. Dexmo's got some friction that comes with it. These gloves, not so much. You just put them on. They're light. They work like gloves, and what they do is they provide 100% accurate hand tracking. Not the kind like Quest gives you where you have to be staring at your hands to get subpar hand tracking. These give you absolute perfect hand tracking in VR, finger tracking, and as you can see from the video here, it really transforms an experience like Half Life Alyx and allows you to be immersed even more so into the game.
oh wow. And so you still use your controller as well, correct? I would imagine.
No, no, no. It's all the controls, as you'll see here, are gesture based.
Oh
Now
wow.
he doesn't. Now he isn't using smooth locomotion. He does have to teleport, but he turns with his body, teleports by a gesture, and uses his hands in the game.
Oh God. Oh yeah, this would be next level immersion wise, right? Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah,
Yeah, and we could crush cans, bro. We could pretend we have index controllers without the index controller jank.
yeah. There you go. We
Man.
could rub it in their face, right?
Yeah. So this is made for Oculus Quest, bro. So we can do this to you too. But yeah, so I don't know. It looks good, man. I could see myself owning these over the other ones. How much are these?
I am looking that up as we speak. I've got it here, but it's not in American currency. It's in CHF, whatever that is. They cost 650 CHF.
Hmm. It doesn't sound cheap.
So
Gerillo says, and this is 100% would be my concern, Gerillo, and this is why I said that hand tracking is kind of a gimmick right now. It would feel weird to not hold anything, but I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know how you're shooting. I mean, are you pulling your finger for shooting? I guess. Um, I I guess it would feel as weird as you make it feel. Maybe you would get used to it, and it would just feel that much more immersive without a controller in your hand. I don't know.
700 bucks for these gloves, Roots.
Oh wow. Well, you just took my excitement and threw it out the window.
I know, right? It would be cool for 100 bucks, right? But for seven, definitely not providing enough benefit, in my opinion, to justify that kind of cost.
No, dude, for $300 more, I can flip people off in VR. I can have perfect tracking, a wider field of view, and superior audio. Why would I not just get the index? Um,
There you go. And here's the thing. I don't know how many of us were really asking for gloves in VR in the first place, right? I feel like controllers are one of the things that we've pretty much got right at this point. I mean, it's one of the things that VR does well. We have the best controllers, and whether you're talking about index controllers or touch controllers, I mean, maybe not so much move controllers, but we've pretty much we're winning here, right? We don't really need gloves, and it really cracks me up, Roots, because like I said, there's a different type of glove every other day, and you would think people were really just foaming at the mouth to get this functionality. But Roots, I saw a product recently that literally its whole function is to let you be able to hold balls in VR, and it's this technology from Microsoft. Oh, let me think here. What was it called? Uh, let me bring it up here. Uh, I was talking to you about it on the
Is it
Discord.
Sensor YX or no?
It's the no. Those are the ones we're looking at. It's the Sensory X. Um, and people know what I'm talking about. The ball things. Oh, it's the haptic pivot from Microsoft. This. Who the hell would put this thing on just so specifically you'd be able to feel balls in your hand?
Or you know who else likes to feel balls in their hand?
My mom!
Yeah.
That's how it goes, man. I set them up, you knock them down, right?
I don't know, man. It feels weird, dude. Like, why would I agree? And it's funny because, your title for this in the Discord was "This is getting ridiculous," and I was like, oh, I got to see this one, and I'm like, yeah, what the hell, dude? Like, at some point, maybe I guess if you're playing Spark or some kind of a game where you're throwing the ball a lot and it makes you, I don't know, it would just feel weird, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And VR Spry Guy says, wait, Wes said VR has the best controllers. He has a PS5 controller. I was talking about as a platform in general. Yes, the DualSense controller is by far the most advanced controller I've ever used. But that's just one controller on one console. When you talk about consoles, when you talk about flat gaming controllers versus VR controllers, I think we have good controllers that we don't really need gloves. That was my point there.
Well,
But
and your point
I,
is still valid. Like, the controllers are still needed. Like, even if they're innovating the controllers, we still need the controller. You need to, like, Drillo's got a point, and I said this before about the finger tracking of Quest. You need to be holding something, otherwise it would be weird. I guess maybe we're pretending, shooties. Um, it would just be weird.
so we've got these things here that we're looking at, right? And we're kind of making fun of them because of the limited scope of what they can actually do. But if you think about it, it was kind of the same thing with the HOTUS. It was kind of the same thing with the wheel. Couldn't we see a whole genre of games that pop up that rely completely on grabbing things in VR? And wouldn't these increase immersion in a similar way to those other peripherals?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe there's some form of a mix between, you know. I mean, just it would be like Drillo said, it would be interesting to do for something like Spark or whatever, especially if it's something you grab something and you throw it and it just disappears out of your hand. I don't know about the picking apple game, but maybe that would be something.
What about like Neko Arena? How do you think this would improve a game like that?
Well, Scion would have to. I think it would. I mean, if you could make it feel like you were holding a disc rather than a ball, absolutely. Like I play frisbee golf, and you
Oh, the
hold a
ball has
disc a
buttons
certain
on
way.
it, Roots.
The
The
ball has.
ball has buttons.
Oh, okay. So that's
There's
kind
a
of weird.
trigger on it.
Yeah. So I wonder what you would do with that trigger. Uh, that's kind of weird, huh? Different.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's certainly different. I mean, somebody must see some value in it. I just thought that this was absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
well, what's the cost
Uh,
on it? Let's before we get out of hand and saying it's stupid. I mean, if it's only like,
this is experimental tech. This
oh,
is not a consumer product yet.
yeah, I'd say
Yet.
I'd say yeah, yeah. If it was $50, I would still say it's overpriced because my amount of things I can do with it um is just very limited.
Virtual balls, Roots. I can see it now. Virtual balls.
Yeah, dude. I just still I'm stuck on picking apples, man. I think that's amazing.
Apple Picker VR coming
Yeah,
to a
dude.
VR arcade near you.
I'm coming to Viveport Infinity. Except for it'll be like something weird, some other knockoff
Yeah,
name.
it'd be a knockoff Apple Picker like Pear Picker.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to throw this in here because it's stupid, and I can't believe they're spending, thousands, maybe millions of dollars of research money to develop some dumb shit like this. I just wanted to use it as an example of, people taking the VR peripheral research a little too far. I mean, I want the Ready Player One experience as much as the next guy, but at some point, controllers are good. You know what I mean? We can immerse ourselves. I mean, if we get the perfect gloves, okay, I'm down with the gloves, but we don't need virtual balls.
Well, virtual ball, I didn't see that in Ready Player One. You know what I mean? He just had the gloves on. I would
Yeah,
imagine at some point we're going to get the technology is going to be able to be fit into those gloves to where, it's just going to give you senses of everything and you're going to feel like you're holding something even though you're not. That's when we get to that level of Ready Player One. I don't, not the ball, unfortunately.
yeah. Unfortunately, the balls not in my future. Not
No.
these balls, anyway. Uh, and then that brings us on to something that's been in the news quite a bit lately, and that is haptic suits. Now, this is something I've done a complete 180 on Roots because we've had stuff in the past like Subpack and other uh, similar vests that you wear that pretty much just rumble, right? You know, you get hit in VR, your whole thing rumbles. It's like a rumble feature in a controller, only you're wearing it. I always felt that like that was a little too simplistic functionally, and they've always been fairly pricey, right? You have to pay a lot just to get that rumble on your chest, and I never really have felt like it was worth it until I saw the tack suit from B Haptics, which is something that is relatively new to me, and this thing is awesome, and it's not just a vest that they have. Things that you can wear all over your body. And what it provides is localized haptic feedback. So, for example, if you get shot in the leg or in the back or in the stomach, you will feel a tactile sensation there. Uh, they use the example of Half Life Alex and putting things in your backpack. You can feel it when you throw things into your
Hmm.
backpack on Half Life Alex. Um, when your energy's low and your heart's beating in your ears, you can feel your heart beating in your chest. Uh, this actually seems like something that would greatly increase immersion.
Hmm.
And relatively speaking, it's not all that expensive. I think they're getting ready to go into Kickstarter with a couple of new models starting at $300. Really not all that bad considering what you're getting here.
Yeah. Well, then my only concern is the friction. But I'll tell you what, I was just thinking. Can you imagine this suit, and you're playing Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and a zombie grabs you from behind, and you
Yeah.
feel it on your shoulder, and you're already creeped out, dude. I guarantee it would add immersion in that respect. Um, I'm kind of warming up a little bit to this. I mean, my thing is, like I said, it's the friction. It's having to put the vest on and hook it all up and or whatever.
But
But if it's not that hard, I mean, I could see it being beneficial. So
well, my answer to that would be um, that you don't have to always have the haptic suit on, right? This is something that you can pull out when you feel like it, and I mean, it's not going to keep you out of VR because if the friction of putting on the haptic suit is, if you just don't feel like it, then you can just play VR without the haptic suit, and then tomorrow when you feel a little bit more like fucking with it, you put the haptic suit out and go into VR chat, and people touch you and hug you, and you
hmm,
can actually feel it as they touch you. I mean, that's another level of immersion in social applications, isn't it?
yeah,
When people are actually able to touch you on your body in VR, think of the applications there.
especially 2020 when like being around people is becoming a little bit more difficult. Okay, just imagine this scenario, Wes. It's New Year's Eve. You're in VR chat, the ball drops,
Everybody's a little drunk.
everyone's a little drunk, getting a little feely, and you get to experience physical interaction with everybody else. Everybody else gets to see and hear people. You get to actually feel like you did hug somebody at New Year's. And I say that, jokingly in a sense, but there's a lot of lonely people out there, Wes, that they've probably haven't been hugged, especially now, for over a year. You know what I
Especially
mean?
people in VR chat, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely lonely for sure. Um, but But no, I think I could see definite aspects of where it would be cool to have this. I mean, I'm not a type of person that would um buy it through Kickstarter. I let somebody else take that risk with that kind of money. But when it comes out, and if it's somewhere around that price, yeah, I could see myself picking it up. Sure.
Well, here's the thing with this company. This isn't their first product that they brought to market. They have a good track record of their customer relations and being reliable. So I wouldn't feel the least bit concerned about backing this company in a Kickstarter. And this is me sitting here, waiting on my VR ears that are a year late that I backed on Kickstarter. What
Hey,
do you think about the price in general? The $300. Now that is the basic version. There are less areas. So instead of having it refined to each little tiny spot on the vest, you'll have bigger areas. Like there might be
it's
six on the
16.
front.
16, I
Yeah,
think, instead of 40, right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
What's the 40 cost? I mean, a 300
I don't.
bucks
I'm
isn't
not
that
sure.
bad. For what it does,
Uh,
for what I mean, look how many games they've already showcased to where it would actually be beneficial. I see myself spending the extra money for the extra sensors rather than going to the cheaper one, just because I mean, if I'm gonna immerse myself, why not immerse myself completely? What is this game, dude? Like, I don't remember this game, but it looks pretty cool. Looks different.
yeah, the old one was $500, which still considering what it is it's not that crazy.
Well, this is a perfect gift for Roots, for all those rich people out there that will just itching to give me a haptic suit. I want the
Yeah,
expensive one though.
$500. $500 for tax suit 40 and $300 for tax suit 16.
That's not too
So
bad.
I don't think either of them are overpriced, considering for what you're getting here and the support. That's the important thing.
Mm,
Games are supporting this,
yeah.
so you don't have to worry about just having like two games that it works on.
I think I would feel better about it, Wes, is if they like sent us a couple to try out and to talk about on the show, and that would make me feel a lot better about it. But it looks like it's
Uh,
really good. So
yeah, this is one of those things that I absolutely would accept if I were to ever get that kind of an offer because I'm intrigued here. And generally, most of this shit I would just pass on, but because it's expensive and easy to break, and I don't really care about balls in my hand anyway. But this thing looks cool, and I really would enjoy trying it out.
yeah, me too. Well, what about the next thing that we're going to talk about that you said specifically did not look like it was fun? And I agree. It doesn't look like it's fun. It looks like it'd be more of a pain in the ass than
Oh,
anything else.
we're getting on to everybody's dream now, right?
Hmm.
The VR treadmills.
Yep. Yeah, dude. Everybody, it's funny because you get people coming into VR and they go down that road on Reddit, and then I feel like I'm like, dude, I've already been down. It's kind of like the hanging from the ceiling shit. Been down that road, done with it, passed, never thought about it again. Although some of the new things coming out look intriguing. So,
Yeah, well, when you talk about VR treadmills, this is kind of like gloves, where there's been a billion different iterations of the VR treadmill. Everybody racing to try to get the one, right? Because whoever finally nails it, it's going to be a big deal. But nobody's quite nailed it yet. But the one that everybody seems to be familiar with is the catwalk, right? The catwalk VR. And my whole attitude on the VR treadmill is uh, only going to be a good idea when you can accurately simulate walking. If it's any bit different than naturally walking at all, then it's just going to be stupid and not feel right and break the immersion to me. So when I see something like this that's holding you in place while you're sliding your feet across this weird disc thing, it just looks like a clusterfuck to me, Roots, and it doesn't look like something I want to do.
no, it doesn't look like it'd be very fun to me either. It feels like you would feel it would feel weird if you watch the videos of them when it's not an advertisement, um, they're having to walk a certain way at a certain speed to be able to do it, and then your feet slide. And I just feel like it would feel weird. I feel like it would, like you said, it would be immersion breaking. I'd rather just use my joystick. And it's huge, you know? I mean, yeah, they show it to where it's in your living room and you can watch TV around it. Who wants that thing in your living room, bro?
Yeah, man. Me, I wouldn't care to have a big accessory like that if it's something that I felt provided me with value. But the thing here, have you ever like when you were younger, put on socks and like kind of scoot across carpet to build up static and then go shock somebody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If there was a VR game that you were doing that in it, this would be perfect for it. But any other type of game, this makes absolutely no sense to me. I guess well, maybe if there was like a first person shooter on a frozen lake bed that you're trying not to fall down and you're slipping around, maybe that would work for this. But this is completely unnatural movement to me. And I don't understand it. I get the dream. I see the vision. I see what everybody wants out of a treadmill, and I agree with it. But this ain't it. And some of the other stuff we've seen, Roots, like uh, like the VR shoes. I mean, that's even stupider than this is, right?
Yeah, no, the cyber shoes, I don't even understand. And I guess if you want to sit down and move or whatever, um, I don't get it. I sit on your stool
You're
and
you're
like,
pretending to you're pretending to walk, but you're not standing up.
yeah, it seems like it'd be very weird. And I guess if some people like it, to me, it would be a little bizarre, for either one. It just isn't something that I want to, like you said, I want to feel authentic with what I'm doing. So,
Yeah, this is just weird to me. It's like, have you ever been in a really good desk chair that has wheels on it, and instead of standing up to go across the room, you just kind of wheeled yourself over there with your feet?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I think if we had a VR game where you were doing that, this would be perfect for it. In any other application, this is dumb as hell,
Well,
and I don't know who's buying this crap.
maybe somebody out there in the show. I'll tell you what, both of these, what do you do when you want to like crouch? Especially the catwalk, dude. You're attached to that thing, dude. Like, you know,
I just get so cracked up seeing these people. Can you imagine if their tether ever broke and they just went running for it?
oh, that would be, or if yeah, they would end up going. I mean, I don't even know how far you would go because you're walking in such a weird way. You'd end up hurting yourself.
Slippery, you got these slippery ass shoes on.
Yeah. No, I think both of these are very unpractical or impractical rather. At least the next one is somewhat practical, but it's still the same premise, right?
I,
Like,
I think the next one kind of reeks of desperation because it was born out of people's need to have a thumbstick option for the Move controller. So since Sony doesn't give anybody thumbsticks, we're just gonna get a controller for our feet, bro, and we'll just control where we're walking with this little pogo ball thing.
yeah, I think that would be really weird too. Because are you still able to walk forward with your joystick, and then, or does it completely cancel it? And
I don't know, man. You don't have a joystick.
no, that's right. Yeah,
You got Move controllers.
yeah. I guess if you are really frustrated with not having a joystick and you can't get around using those buttons to move forward and back, yeah, you could buy a periphery that lets you do it sitting on your couch. Oh, why not, right?
Yeah, man. And then a lot of people in the PSVR community were excited for this one. Like this one, they sold some of these, like a pretty good number of them. But I just never saw it, man. This just does not. I mean, the Move controllers, yeah, they need thumbsticks, but they're fine, man. You can use Move controllers if you practice a little bit and just get used to where the buttons are at. They work fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gamertag and Delirium Drew just came in the house. So I'm just saying hey to them. Um,
What's up, guys? What's up, GT? What's up, Drew? We're just trying to figure out who actually bought the 3D rudder and why did they buy it?
yeah,
Because this just does not look like a way I want to play VR games.
yeah. Did anybody buy this? We're not going to give
A
you
lot of
crap.
people bought this, dude. A
No, I
lot
mean
of people
anybody
bought.
out in the chat. I'm curious if you bought this. Let us know, and we'll meekly say we're sorry. You know who didn't buy this, Wes?
My mom!
She has better wisdom. She knows.
That's true. GT says it's not 3D rudder. I'm not sure what he means by that. That's what the thing said. So I don't remember what it's called. VR rudder, 3D rudder. I don't get it. Whatever it's called. It you know, I prefer just to use the button locomotion on move controllers. But hey, to each their own, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And then that brings us to what I feel like is the gold standard, the only plausible product I've ever seen in the realm of VR treadmills, and it's not out yet, Roots. But we've been watching the development of this one for a few years, and I'm trying to look up what the actual product name
I think it's
turned
Act
out to
VR.
be with it. Yeah, ActVR is the company's name, and it's
Okay.
like CV1 or CR1 or
Okay.
ActVR CM1, Customer Model 1. This looks like something that I would actually use because you know what you do to walk in this one, Roots?
You walk.
You walk, and nothing here that's going to really break your immersion, other than the fact that they've added a tether to it for safety, which I kind of get when the floor's moving under you. You kind of need something to shut it off, right? If you fall. Um,
Two
but
things.
yeah, I've seen more rudimentary versions of this over the years. I've kind of been keeping up with it because I feel like this is the only real model of VR treadmill that's ever really going to catch on. And this thing just looks awesome. I'd love to try it out.
Yeah. See, there's two things for me that I would like to see different. One goes against what I just said a little while ago about the thing being big in your house. I think it needs to be a little bit bigger, just a little bit long, maybe a foot wider on each side, and then that way you're not worried as much about stepping on the edge, because I would be if I was running. That, and then the second thing is, what does it feel like when I'm running and I just suddenly stop? Because I'm gonna feel it, the motion. You know what I mean? I'm gonna feel it kind of even out, and that's gonna feel a little weird. But other than that, I think you're right. I think this is the closest thing to exactly what we're looking for, outside of AI controlled, in a big enough space. I still believe that an AI controlled game that's literally directing you around your room, um, would be the best way to make you able to actually walk around. But that's going to take a while before you get to that point, right? So
Yeah, this latency you're talking about with the stopping, this was the main problem with it. 2 years ago when I was really getting into the research that goes behind this, I got to imagine that they've improved it greatly since then. And the old version, the prototype version, was about twice this big
ooh,
too. So I mean, it was really a big thing. Um, but yeah, I can't imagine that it's going to just stop on a dime. I don't see how it would possibly be able to do that. So there is going to always be a little bit of latency involved with it. But this is uh, this is the answer in my opinion. The only problem with something like this is, what are we talking? $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for something like this?
yeah, it's true. It's expensive, and I'll tell you another friction thing that I would say is a problem as well is like people are lazy. People don't even want to stand, myself included, let alone run on something. And
Well,
then
that's
also
true.
you add the heat, say summertime, I'm standing still and I'm too hot. And then you add me running around and moving and all of those things are going to make, for a very sweaty experience.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way. I don't play standing very often. I play seated mostly, and I've always said it though. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like room scale stuff because I don't want to be standing up, walking around in a small space. But something like this could completely change it. Something like this would be worth it for me to stand up and walk because I could infinitely walk in any direction. And it doesn't matter if I have a small space. I can walk around the virtual world naturally, then sign me up. I'll stand up every time. Again, I think the thing that's going to keep me from ever having something like this is the cost. But I think it's cool that we're almost there to where we can actually have a real VR treadmill that works and, uh, and really does bring us a little bit closer to that Ready Player One scenario that everyone dreams about.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put on the goggles and run, right? So,
And Delirium Drew talking about the VR rudder or the 3D rudder, whatever it was called. He said that he has a friend that actually likes it. His friend's handicapped, and I never
oh,
really considered that. And that probably would be a good use for somebody who has physical limitations. But then again, like I just mentioned, I don't play standing uh, very much at all. And, move controllers have buttons and they work well.
and Meow Mix or Meow Mix. Sorry, I'm putting your name different. Meow Meow, the gamer cat, and Gerillo both agree that it should be a little bit bigger because, like Gerillo said, he's 6'3" and he's got a wide stride, right? And so it would feel very weird to try to run, um, unless you could like run a little bit wider. So, like I said, give yourself another foot, which goes completely against what I said about it being too big already in a space. But I mean, if you're already getting it anyway, I'd like a
Yeah.
little bit more space. I'm not 6'3", and I still think I would need more space to run.
Yeah, I think that they probably shrank it down for consumer purposes because exactly what you said. If it's too big, people aren't going to have
Yeah,
space for it. Hopefully, there'll be different models of it, but
yeah,
really, realistically, I could see. I mean, the answer to how do you like full gate run on this thing is you don't. You don't full gate run on it. You do what this guy's doing. You walk or you do a light jog, and then it's not a concern anymore.
yeah. That's true. That's true. And it goes to what I was just saying earlier. I don't think you're going to want to be full on sprinting everywhere anyway. It's a lot of work. Um, so it could be it's good exercise, man. Maybe everybody stops being fat and they lose some weight, myself included. I need to get this thing, Wes.
Gamertag says my background is quality. Thanks, bro. This is Tarzan. This is a Tarzan cave, which we talked about Tarzan VR at the top of the show. I try to keep my backgrounds VR themed. In case you guys haven't noticed, I've been pulling screenshots from games every week and putting them up behind me. And today we were talking about Tarzan, so I went with Tarzan.
Yeah. Well, Delirium Drew says, screw treadmills. Give me that roller coaster gyro for cockpit games like racing and spaceship stuff. You like you read
Yeah,
our mind, Drew.
yeah. I think the ultimate in any of this type of stuff that I've ever seen is the Feel 3 motion simulator. This thing is just incredible. It leverages gravity to put forces upon your body that would feel natural to the experiences that you're dealing with in VR. So, since you're blindfolded in essence with the VR headset on, you don't feel the fact that you're being tilted back in your chair, but it's done to such a perfect degree that in the game it just feels like G force is pulling you back into your seat or to the left or to the right. When it's perfectly calibrated, I got to imagine that it feels real, whether you're talking about roller coasters, whether you're talking about racing games, or any kind of other, flying games, anything that's moving your body around in the game, you feel it with this thing. And I said that I've been following that omnidirectional treadmill for years. Same thing here with this Feel 3 simulator. I feel like this is kind of the ultimate when it comes to VR accessories.
I agree. And it's like I see overGs in this thing flying his heart's content, man. This has got everything, dude. This would be the roller coaster, is the driving sim. The thing that makes it cool is like you can have just about anything, turn and do all that stuff, but to get it to do it to where you're not even feeling your tilting back, you're feeling it as G force. That's big, dude. That's huge. That's immersion level 1000. And I don't care if this is right in my living room. I don't care if this takes place in my bed. I'll sleep in Harry Potter's closet or something, dude. I'll find a place to sleep if I get to have this thing in my room.
Yeah, man. That's the thing. We talk about you know, friction, and is the cost in trouble worth the cost in immersion? And I feel like with the last treadmill and with this here, I think it would be worth 30 to 45 minutes of setup just to be able to experience something like this in your home.
Yeah, because this is when I first saw this video, I'm thinking this is what you get in an arcade. This is arcade level experience and in VR, and you're just not going to get that in most places. You're going to be missing part of the equation, whether it be the wheel or the fancy machine driving the steering and spinning you around. So
Well, that's the thing here with this thing too, and you just nailed it. This is the type of thing that you would see in a VR arcade, and it's priced as such. This thing cost thousands of dollars. I think it was like 2,000 or something like that when it was in Kickstarter, but now to like buy one, it's like 3,000.
ooh,
And that's just the motion simulator. All of these things that you're seeing on it, like the really nice seat and the wheel and pedals or the HOTUS. All of this stuff is stuff that you add on yourself.
mm.
So this is a very expensive thing. I got to imagine that VR arcades are the ones that are buying these.
That's or the richies, all the rich people.
The riches, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what, man. This would be just phenomenal. I could see myself playing Star Wars Squadrons in it with a HOTUS, and you're doing a loop or something. The G force on you. That'd be cool.
Yeah, man. This is the type of thing. I don't play the lottery often, but when I do play it, I'm thinking about this thing. Like, I
Yeah,
got to get that thing. I need the money, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, this thing totally worth it when you talk about the cost of friction. Maybe not so much when you talk about the cost in dollars. And that's why, Roots, we have the Y'all VR. And this is the best of both worlds, Roots. This too uses the gravity from the real world to simulate G forces on your body, only it's smaller and more compact, more suitable to something that you would put in your living space, and it's more affordable. It's kind of the perfect package when it comes to these types of things for the consumer, and that, Roots, is the reason why you have measured every one of these other accessories in terms of how much of a yaw cost
Mm.
it would bring. So like my G2, it's half a yaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, this thing is just awesome, or at least it looks like it is.
I don't know. Shiny Robot has it, right? Is it Shiny Robot that has this, or somebody in the Discord has this, right?
Yeah, Shiny Robot has this thing, and he says it's absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. I want it shiny. I'll tell you what, I love roller coasters, and that's where I would be spending all my time in No Limits, or if Russia Blood ever gets the hack that I'm hoping you were right about, which I can't see how it doesn't eventually, PSVR doesn't get hacked into PC. I would love to Russia Blood it in a yaw. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude, and the way that these things are. I mean, they're very customizable. So I mean, it's not completely outside the realm of possibility one day that we could see PSVR emulated on PC and something like this being able to be calibrated for it. Uh, I mean, you see it here with Grand Theft Auto 5. You know, it doesn't have native support for GTA 5. They've worked on putting a profile together for this the same way you would with like Vorpex or anything else. There's going to be a number of official profiles, and then there's going to be user profiles shared online, and some of them are going to be better than others. But when it's dialed in and working perfectly, I mean, look at this, Roots. I mean, who doesn't want to play GTA like this?
It's looking good, Wes. And the more I watch this video, the more I think, how much could I get for a kidney, or just something extra than my body that I
Right.
don't need, right? Because I
Well,
could
this
probably
this
get
one,
one.
yeah, this one's within reach, isn't it? This is like $1,000, 1,200, something like that.
I think it might even be the really good one's 1,500, but I think 1,200. That's not even that bad, really, for what you're getting. Assuming that there's not issues with it down the road. I mean, it looks like it's got a lot of working parts to it, but I think it's cool. It's got those things on the sides to mount your HOTAS on there, because that's one of the biggest things that I don't like about the HOTAS or the wheel or something. They're designed to be locked down somewhere, and when they're not, it kind of feels a little weird. But if they're spaced out perfectly and locked in, it's going to give you more immersion. So
Yeah, and speaking of immersion, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that they've worked on some kind of compatibility with Oculus Quest here, so that you can play wirelessly, and you won't have all this crap hanging off of your face as you're spinning around in 360.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could do 360 game roller coasters or rides and stuff with the Quest 2 wirelessly, right?
Yeah, imagine playing Star Wars Squadrons in this thing wirelessly with virtual desktop and an expensive HOTAS mounted on this thing.
Oh God,
Think about that for a minute.
the warthog. Oh, he'd be in heaven, dude. I'm jealous of this kid, dude. Who is this kid that's getting to hang out in this yaw, dude? And why is
Yeah,
Roots not in this commercial?
I thought my kids were the luckiest kids on earth just because of all the shit that I buy that they get access to. I got to imagine the y'all people's kids are like, how do you amaze that guy for Christmas, right?
Nah, they're like, this is ghetto, dude. You didn't get me another yaw, Dad. What the hell? Now, imagine if you had
Nintendo
a room that had.
Switch.
What if you had like
What is
four
this
of those,
garbage?
4 or 5, ready
Yeah,
for the whole family, right?
well, I mean, that's kind of the idea, right? I mean, most of these racing type games are multiplayer. Most of these, well, maybe not most of them, but some of these flying games are multiplayer as well. There's certainly applications there, and I got to imagine that, people like myself who are starting these startup VR arcades are looking really hard at these things because, again, they're not all that expensive, and at the price point, you can invest $5,000, put 3 or 4 of them in a row, and all of a sudden you have an attraction for families to come and take advantage of and pay for.
That's
That's how
true.
you pay for it, Roots. You start an arcade.
That's true. I know that was something Anthony was thinking about back in the day. The thing about it's gonna be COVID is like the killer of every innovation. It's like, oh, you wanted to start this business up? COVID, no. And people are like, shit, I'm not going in there. I drove by a movie theater today and I was like, oh shit, those are still open. It's just crazy.
COVID's almost over with, though, bro. It'll be over with in 6 months. Everybody will get the shot and it'll go away. And then,
Then you could start your business. That's right.
yeah, and beyond that, there's some pretty good new technology when it comes to sanitizing VR headsets and things too. So I got to feel like the VR arcade dream was just kind of put on hold and it's not dead yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We're reinventing the dream. I it's everything that's happened has shifted things. Everything happens for a reason. Now we've got movies and museum stuff in VR, things that you didn't get to see so much so, and so it'll be good in that way.
Yeah, man, it's been quite a year, and as we said at the top of the show, it's going to be frantic down to the finish line, and no matter which, which area of life you're looking at, whether it be gaming or real life or, the holiday season shopping, it's all going to be at an intensity level that's been ratcheted up to 11. So everybody buckle in, pop the popcorn, and sit back because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. A lot of good games coming out and good stuff.
VR Spry Guy says, good thing he didn't start an arcade. I think his kind of deal was kind of like a traveling thing, right? He didn't want to do like a location based, but he wanted your location to be the location, right?
Yeah, kind of like one of those people that goes around doing a DJ, except for you to be a VR DJ, right? Show up.
Yeah, there's lots of these dudes that do just that. You have to buy like these backpack VR rigs. Like Zotac even sold some of them. You can still buy them on their on their website. I saw the other day.
Hmm.
They had them clearanced out, but yeah, people still do that, and I guess it's probably easier to deal with than the the ones that have a set location with bigger equipment.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because nobody, I mean, there's people that don't want to leave their house, so it's crazy.
But anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up here. I think that our attitude toward most of this stuff is that most of them provide cool features, but in most cases, not cool enough to justify the trouble of getting into them. And even the ones that you would go through the trouble of setting them up, they're almost always too expensive.
Yeah.
So hopefully, the future will see some more consumer friendly implementation of these technologies. And that's the way it goes, right? Over time, technology becomes cheaper. What is expensive today will be garbage tomorrow. So just hang in there, give it a few more years, and I guarantee you're going to be surprised at the toys we're playing with in 2 years.
Man, look at how things have changed in 4 years, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me how good VR has become, to the conversation where I've had with people that are like, oh man, VR is a gimmick. And they're talking about the Gear VR. And I'm like, where have you been, dude? Like, you checked out at the wrong time. Uh,
Yeah, I've heard so many people say that in recent weeks. Like, yeah, I've tried VR. I used to have one of those Gear VRs. Like, dude, it's not VR.
and
Shame on you.
you were using an S3 at the time. You know what I mean? Probably, or something along that. I mean, the power that those had were shit compared to what we got
Right.
now.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. They probably could have stuck with Gear VR, and it would probably be 1,000 times better now than it ever was.
I'd be interested to see if you could take like a gear and you could put one of, like, I got the S20, which just shows you how many, there's so many different things out there now. How good would that be in a Gear VR? I mean, not that I would care now, but I got the Quest, but it'd be
You can get
interesting.
them for $20, dude. Those, they're not hard to come by anymore.
Yeah, maybe I should try that just to check it out.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Drew Drillo says, I can't wait for Medal of Honor. Me either. And not just Medal of Honor. There's so many games that are going to be crammed into this next 6 weeks that it's nuts, dude. It's too much. It's got me to the point where I'm going to be sending out emails tomorrow. Hopefully, I won't have to buy all of them.
Mm-hmm. Gamertag wants to know how you're enjoying the reverb.
Better, man. Better than initially. Initially, I was having a lot of crashing with it. But I came to find out, thanks to the help of our awesome community, that it was a bug in Steam VR causing me to oversample and overwork my 3080. So I dialed it back to 65%, which is actually about 110, 115% of the native resolution, and it's working a lot better now. And I'm really enjoying it. The clarity is top notch. I haven't had as much controller jank as people are complaining about, even though I will say that it isn't perfect. It's not as good as Oculus, but it is. It hasn't been anything that really has bothered me all that much yet. So it's not perfect, but it's been good enough to keep me out of my Quest 2 most of the time.
Well, it tells you something. That tells me Wes is probably keeping it.
Probably. I'm about 75% keeping it now, where I was 50-50 last week.
Ah, oh, cool. Well, it's going in the right direction. I think it sounds like a good headset to keep from what you and Overgees are saying. So,
Yep. Yep. Here's the thing about it, right? I definitely see the value in it. It's worth $600. I can say that confidently at this point. The problem with it is that in 6 months, the next best thing is coming. And if I keep this, I can't buy that. you know,
that's a good
so
point.
that's kind of the thing here. We know Samsung's working on another headset. We've heard rumors about LG working on one, and that's what we know about. So
What about the yaw?
keeping
You're
this,
halfway there if you return it.
dude. If I knew I could get the yaw, I'd probably get rid of. I'd probably send this back.
Yeah.
just because that's totally something completely different to anything else that I have. Whereas the G2's better than the Quest 2, sure, but it's about this much better, right? It's not night and day, but it is better. It's noticeably better.
Ah, cool. Maybe one day I'll see you in a yaw. I don't know. We'll see. Hmm.
Anyway, Overg says he did the same thing and it improved his performance as well. It's like anything, Overg's. It's you know, I've been an Oculus user since the day I built my PC. Uh, Coming into a new platform, there's a learning curve here. You have to learn how to work around the jank, how to get how to exist in a new ecosphere, and the more experience we have with it, the smoother things are going to be with it. So, and the software is going to get updated as well, and it's going to get better too.
Cool.
Gamertag says the clarity is good, but he boxed his up yesterday. I guess the controller jank a little too much for you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be my problem, Wes. Is like I enjoy the Oculus controllers so much. So not only the tracking, but the way they feel. I think I might have a hard time going away from it.
Well, jury's still out. I've still yet to play any competitive multiplayer games in it. I did notice in Half-Life Alyx, the last time I played it, there was a couple of times I was aiming down the sights, holding the controller completely still, but in game, maybe two or three times, it just the gun started vibrating like this.
Uh,
Not for long, for like a second.
mm,
It did this. It was just enough to annoy me. It wasn't enough to like, you know, screw me up or anything, but it was noticeable. So if stuff like that keeps happening, maybe we'll see that 75% positive guy go back in the negative direction. But overall, my experience has been good lately with it, so I'm optimistic.
cool. Sounds like we got some more to hear from Wes on the reverb, and I'll be interested to
Uh,
see where it ends up.
it's certainly an ongoing thing, and it's going to be for probably the rest of the year. So,
Yeah, that's the beauty of buying stuff this year. You got so much time to return it. You might as well check it out. Like I said, that's why I'm gonna get a freshy cable when it comes out. When they send it to me, I'll just send back my old one that doesn't seem to be damaged. But who doesn't want a fresh cable, right?
yep, there you go. Everybody wants a freshie, Roots.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up this week, friends. If you like the video, you know what to do. Thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to stay up with all of our content here. And for those of you who have been with us for a while and want to do a little something extra to support the channel and help us to grow, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you can gain access to our weekly show notes as well as the always awesome Money Show, which is a piece of content that is exclusive to Patreon. Roots, we don't hold out the shows from the community and make them wait for all of our opinions on everything new that comes out. But we do exclusive content from time to time for the Patreon. If that's something that you're interested in, you can't get enough virtual strangers. Well, there's a way for you to get a little bit more.
Yep, absolutely. And we appreciate it.
Anyways, be sure to join the Discord. The invite link always in the description down below. Be sure to hit us up on there. That way you can meet us up in game or just shoot the shit with us a little bit. And I think that's it. With that said, friends, we would like to thank you once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes,